Welcome to Vietnam.
A country with a long history and a well-established traditional culture. A safe country with a strong national identity. A country with varied heritage and magnificent natural landscape, wonderful beaches, stunning destinations, and fine cuisine. Warm and hospitable people. Vietnam's unique charms have captivated tourists and international friends alike. In 2020, despite facing many difficulties caused by COVID-19, Vietnam was one of the few countries in the world that achieved positive economic growth. In 2021, a survey by the World Population Review placed Vietnam among the 10 friendliest countries. Come and fall in love with Vietnam.
Hello and welcome to our program Vietnam Days in Switzerland. I'm Thùy Linh.
And I'm Minh Quang.
Vietnam, a Vietnam rich in tradition, a dynamic Vietnam, a hospitable Vietnam, and a lovable Vietnam. The messages in the opening clip and the creative performance of dance group 218 are our greetings to the audience here in Vietnam watching us, and also to audiences all over the world who are watching the Vietnam Days in Switzerland program.
The program is organized by the Department of Cultural Affairs and UNESCO, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in collaboration with the Vietnamese representative agencies in Switzerland, the embassies of Switzerland in Vietnam, the Vietnam Television and the Liberals. The program is being live streamed on digital platforms of Vietnam Days Abroad fan page, YouTube page of Vietnam Days Abroad, VTV4 fan page and YouTube channel of VTV4.
Vietnam Days in Switzerland 2021 program are taking place simultaneously at 3 locations: the studio of Vietnam Television Station, the Embassy of Vietnam in Switzerland, the Permanent Mission of Vietnam to the United Nations, the WTO and other international organizations in Geneva. So if you would like to connect with the guests of the program today, do not hesitate to send the questions directly in the comment sections on Facebook and on YouTube.
Ladies and gentlemen, culture has an important role in promoting dialogues and exchanges between nations within framework of the Vietnam Days Abroad program approved by the Prime Minister. Vietnam Days in Switzerland in 2021 is a special event to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Switzerland and Vietnam. Over the past 50 years, Switzerland and Vietnam have accompanied and shared common global value with each other. The biggest achievement that the two countries have achieved is the mutual trust, understanding and close connection between the two peoples.
So in today's Vietnam Days in Switzerland program, we will look back at what the two countries have achieved, and building on that, we will look forward to the fruitful future of the relationship between the two countries. And through unique art performances and beautiful images and sharing of special guests in both Vietnam and Switzerland, you will better understand the special relationship between Vietnam and Switzerland.
And to officially start today's program, I would like to introduce Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Đặng Hoàng Giang to give a welcome speech.
Các bạn Thụy Sĩ và Việt Nam thân mến, ngày 11 tháng 10 năm 1971, Việt Nam và Thụy Sĩ chính thức thiết lập quan hệ ngoại giao. Sự kiện này đưa Thụy Sĩ trở thành một trong số nước Tây Âu đầu tiên thiết lập quan hệ ngoại giao với Việt Nam trong thời điểm Việt Nam hết sức khó khăn, vừa tiến hành công cuộc kháng chiến thống nhất đất nước ở miền Nam, vừa tập trung xây dựng chủ nghĩa xã hội ở miền Bắc và rất cần sự ủng hộ, giúp đỡ từ bên ngoài, không chỉ về chính trị mà còn cả về hợp tác kinh tế, khoa học kỹ thuật. Trên thực tế, mối quan hệ giữa Việt Nam và Thụy Sĩ đã hình thành từ trước đó, dần được vun đắp theo thời gian cùng nhiều sự kiện quan trọng mà nổi bật là việc Thụy Sĩ chứng nhân cho Hiệp định Geneva lịch sử được ký kết vào ngày 20 tháng 7 năm 1954, công nhận độc lập, chủ quyền, thống nhất và toàn vẹn lãnh thổ của Việt Nam. Mối quan hệ hữu nghị lâu dài và sống động đó là nền tảng vững chắc để chính phủ và nhân dân hai nước không ngừng xây đắp, phát triển, đạt được những kết quả tích cực trên nhiều lĩnh vực bao gồm chính trị, ngoại giao, kinh tế, hợp tác phát triển, khoa học kỹ thuật, giáo dục, văn hóa và giao lưu nhân dân. Các cuộc trao đổi, chuyến thăm cấp cao của hai nước diễn ra thường xuyên đã góp phần tạo xung lực, làm sâu sắc thêm quan hệ hợp tác giữa hai nước. Tính đến nay, hai bên đã có tổng số 35 chuyến thăm trao đổi cấp cao, mà gần đây nhất là chuyến thăm của Phó Tổng thống, Bộ trưởng Ngoại giao Thụy Sĩ Ignacio Cassis đến Việt Nam tháng 8 năm 2021, giúp củng cố mối quan hệ thương mại đầu tư, hiện thực hóa những tiềm năng to lớn trong quan hệ giữa hai nước để góp phần khắc phục khó khăn và thúc đẩy phục hồi kinh tế sau đại dịch Covid-19. Tình cảm và sự tin tưởng lẫn nhau của hai nước còn được thể hiện qua việc rất nhiều trí thức Việt Nam đã học tập và trưởng thành tại Thụy Sĩ. Cộng đồng người Việt Nam tại Thụy Sĩ hòa nhập tốt và được chính quyền sở tại đánh giá cao. Tháng 9 vừa qua, Việt Nam đã bổ nhiệm lãnh sự danh dự đầu tiên của mình tại bang Trực, Thụy Sĩ. Trong lĩnh vực hợp tác phát triển, Thụy Sĩ đã duy trì viện trợ phát triển cho Việt Nam trong suốt 30 năm qua. Các dự án hợp tác do Thụy Sĩ tài trợ cả song phương và đa phương đã đóng góp hiệu quả cho các thành tựu phát triển kinh tế xã hội và thực hiện các mục tiêu thiên niên kỷ hướng tới mục tiêu phát triển bền vững tại Việt Nam. Bên cạnh đó, Việt Nam và Thụy Sĩ cũng duy trì đà hợp tác hiệu quả, ủng hộ lẫn nhau trong các khuôn khổ, các tổ chức quốc tế và các diễn đàn đa phương như Liên Hợp Quốc, Diễn đàn Hợp tác Á-Âu, Tổ chức Thương mại Thế giới. Thưa quý vị và các bạn, năm 2021 là năm có ý nghĩa đặc biệt quan trọng đối với Việt Nam và Thụy Sĩ khi hai nước kỷ niệm 50 năm thiết lập quan hệ ngoại giao và 30 năm quan hệ hợp tác phát triển. Để đánh dấu sự kiện quan trọng này, hai nước đã tổ chức những hoạt động phong phú, đa dạng và thiết thực để cùng nhau nhìn lại chặng đường đã qua nửa thế kỷ với những tình cảm và dấu ấn tốt đẹp, đồng thời hướng tới tương lai với những triển vọng hợp tác mới, đặc biệt là trong lĩnh vực đổi mới sáng tạo và vì phát triển bền vững. Chương trình Ngày Việt Nam tại Thụy Sĩ do Bộ Ngoại giao và Đại sứ quán Thụy Sĩ tại Việt Nam, Đài truyền hình Việt Nam tổ chức diễn ra sau đây là một trong những hoạt động quan trọng của năm kỷ niệm thiết lập quan hệ ngoại giao, lần đầu tiên được tổ chức theo phương thức trực tuyến nhằm thích ứng với bối cảnh mới. Chương trình không chỉ minh chứng cho tình hữu nghị Việt Nam-Thụy Sĩ mà còn gửi tới công chúng Thụy Sĩ và các nước châu Âu thông điệp về một nước Việt Nam tươi đẹp, giàu bản sắc, sẵn sàng hợp tác với Thụy Sĩ trên mọi lĩnh vực, đặc biệt là đổi mới sáng tạo. Qua đó góp phần tăng cường hiểu biết và tình hữu nghị giữa nhân dân hai nước, đồng thời thắt chặt hơn nữa tình cảm gắn bó giữa Tổ quốc và cộng đồng người Việt Nam đang sinh sống, học tập, làm việc tại Thụy Sĩ và các nước châu Âu. Chúc đất nước Thụy Sĩ phồn vinh, thịnh vượng, chúc tình hữu nghị Việt Nam ngày càng bền chặt, chúc chương trình diễn ra thành công tốt đẹp. Xin trân trọng cảm ơn.
Well, thank you, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Đặng Hoàng Giang, for your speech. And up next are special greetings from Vietnamese Ambassador to Switzerland, Dr. Lê Linh Lan, and Ambassador Lê Thị Tuyết Mai, Permanent Representative of Vietnam to the United Nations, the WTO, and other international organizations in Geneva.
Thưa các bạn Thụy Sĩ và Việt Nam thân mến, từ thủ đô Ben xinh đẹp cổ kính, tôi xin gửi lời chào tới các bạn tham gia chương trình Ngày Việt Nam tại Thụy Sĩ 2021, một hoạt động quan trọng kỷ niệm 50 năm quan hệ ngoại giao giữa hai nước. Trong bối cảnh đại dịch Covid-19, sự kiện trực tuyến lần đầu tiên này là thông điệp sống động của tinh thần đổi mới sáng tạo trong triển khai ngoại giao văn hóa, biến thách thức thành cơ hội nhằm duy trì nhịp cầu kết nối, lan tỏa sức sống mãnh liệt của mối quan hệ hữu nghị lâu dài và hợp tác tốt đẹp giữa Việt Nam và Thụy Sĩ. Năm 2021 có ý nghĩa đặc biệt quan trọng, kỷ niệm hai dấu mốc lịch sử, 50 năm quan hệ ngoại giao và 30 năm hợp tác phát triển. Chúng ta thực sự tự hào về những tiến triển vững chắc trong mối quan hệ hữu nghị truyền thống và hợp tác tốt đẹp trong lĩnh vực chính trị, ngoại giao, thương mại đầu tư, hợp tác phát triển, văn hóa giáo dục. Chuyến thăm Việt Nam của Phó Tổng thống Bộ trưởng Ngoại giao Ignacio Cassis cùng gói viện trợ nhân đạo khẩn cấp, thiết bị vật tư y tế tháng 8 vừa qua ngay giữa đại dịch là minh chứng rõ nét của tình hữu nghị bền chặt, cử chỉ nghĩa tình đoàn kết với Việt Nam. Tuy xa cách về địa lý nhưng mối liên hệ gắn kết giữa hai nước lại hết sức gần gũi. Từ cuối thế kỷ thứ 19, nhà vi khuẩn học gốc Thụy Sĩ Alexander Hirschfeld đã chọn Việt Nam là quê hương thứ hai, nơi ông đã sống 50 năm cuộc đời. Năm 2013, ông được công nhận là công dân danh dự của Việt Nam. Những năm qua, quan hệ nhân dân tiếp tục phát triển tốt đẹp nhờ đóng góp của cộng đồng trí thức Thụy Sĩ gốc Việt tài năng. Trao đổi thương mại đầu tư, văn hóa, giáo dục và du lịch giữa hai nước ngày càng gia tăng. Tôi tin tưởng rằng quan hệ hữu nghị hợp tác sẽ tiếp tục được mở rộng và có bước phát triển mới trong lĩnh vực đổi mới sáng tạo. Thế mạnh nổi trội của Thụy Sĩ, nước liên tục giữ vị trí số 1 trong chỉ số toàn cầu về đổi mới và sáng tạo. Xin chúc tình hữu nghị truyền thống, quan hệ đối tác hợp tác giữa Việt Nam và Thụy Sĩ ngày càng bền chặt và phát triển lên một tầm cao mới. Xin trân trọng cảm ơn.
Tôi xin gửi lời chào nồng nhiệt nhất tới các bạn Thụy Sĩ và Việt Nam và các quý vị đang theo dõi chương trình Ngày Việt Nam ở Thụy Sĩ. Geneva là nơi diễn ra hội nghị Geneva về Đông Dương 67 năm trước với lễ ký Hiệp định Geneva về chấm dứt chiến tranh và lập lại hòa bình ở Việt Nam ngày 20 tháng 7 năm 1954, một trong những dấu ấn thành công lớn của Việt Nam và nước chủ nhà Thụy Sĩ về ngoại giao đa phương vì hòa bình. Tiếp đó, Thụy Sĩ đã đóng vai trò trung gian hòa giải giữa Mỹ và Việt Nam liên quan đến các vấn đề tù binh, đàm phán hòa bình. Thụy Sĩ đã tạo điều kiện cho việc thành lập phái đoàn đại diện Việt Nam Dân Chủ Cộng Hòa tại các tổ chức quốc tế ở Geneva năm 1974, góp phần tạo thuận lợi cho việc Việt Nam gia nhập Liên Hợp Quốc năm 1977, cũng như gia nhập Tổ chức Thương mại Thế giới đầu năm 2007. Việt Nam và Thụy Sĩ có nhiều tiềm năng để tiếp tục thúc đẩy hợp tác quốc tế trên nhiều lĩnh vực như quyền con người, nhân đạo, y tế, lao động, đổi mới sáng tạo, công nghệ số, thương mại và phát triển. Tôi tin rằng Geneva sẽ tiếp tục là nơi đóng góp tích cực cho quan hệ hữu nghị, hợp tác, giao lưu kinh tế, thương mại, văn hóa và nhiều mặt khác giữa Việt Nam và Thụy Sĩ. Nhân dịp kỷ niệm 50 năm quan hệ ngoại giao hai nước, chúng ta cùng chúc và hướng tới tăng cường tình hữu nghị và hợp tác tốt đẹp giữa Việt Nam và Thụy Sĩ ngày càng bền chặt.
Thank you, ambassadors. And joining us live from the studio in Hanoi, His Excellencies, Mr. Ivo Sieber, Ambassador of Switzerland in Vietnam.
Xin chào, good afternoon Hanoi and good morning Switzerland. Thank you very much for inviting me to the Vietnam Days in Switzerland 21 celebrations. I'm very grateful and happy to be part of this special commemoration to celebrate the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Switzerland and Vietnam. Let me also congratulate everyone who makes this delightful event across borders and across continents possible. And of course, it's great to see so many friends live together in times when this cannot always be done. Wonderful also to see Ambassador Lan and Ambassador Mai and all our other friends sharing this special moment together in Switzerland and here in Vietnam. Working together, sharing and trusting are key ingredients that make the relation and friendship between Switzerland and Vietnam a special one. 50 years of partnership is an important milestone in any relation. And if Vietnam and Switzerland were a couple, we could celebrate our golden anniversary and look back on a very happy marriage where both partners have grown for and with each other. But while marriages rarely last half a century, the partnership, trust, and the solidarity of our two countries developed over the past 5 decades are a great foundation for our relationship to continue to grow into the future, stronger, wider, deeper, and much longer. With this, I very much look forward to today's exchanges, discussions, performances, and also celebrations, and to many more half-century commemorations of Vietnamese-Swiss friendship. Happy anniversary and Xin Cảm ơn.
Thank you, Ambassador Ivo. And now I would like to invite you to join us here in the talk.
Thank you.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to participate today in the program Vietnam Days in Switzerland, celebrating the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Vietnam and my country, Switzerland. The vibrant international city of Geneva plays an important role in hosting an extraordinary variety of international organizations. Geneva has also a strong relation with Vietnam. In 1954, the Palais des Nations, home of the United Nations in Geneva, hosted the Geneva Conference dedicated to the restoration of peace after the First Indochina War. 20 years later, Vietnam opened its first permanent mission here and is since then an active and much welcomed actor in the multilateral arena on the shores of Lake Geneva. We are looking forward to continuing close collaboration and dialogue with Vietnam, building upon the momentum of the past half-century. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, ambassadors, for your greetings. And that has officially opened up our conversation today. So,
ladies and gentlemen, Switzerland was one of the first Western European countries to establish diplomatic relations with Vietnam while the war in Vietnam was still going on. In 1954, Switzerland, as the host country, contributed to the success of the Geneva Conference after the Dien Bien Phu victory.
And although the distance between Vietnam and Switzerland is far, the two countries and two peoples share many things in common. During the past 50 years, the traditional friendship between Vietnam and Switzerland has continuously developed positively in almost all fields.
To look back at the half-century of the cooperation between the two countries, we are now connecting to three different locations. From Hanoi, Vietnam, I would like to introduce Ambassador of Switzerland to Vietnam, Ivo Sieberg. Mr. Lê Đình Tĩnh, Director General, Institute for Foreign Policy and Strategic Studies, Diplomatic Academy of Vietnam.
And from the capital city, Bern, Switzerland, we would like to introduce Vietnamese Ambassador to Switzerland, Lê Linh Lan. And Ms. Anushka Vail, President of the Vietnam-Switzerland Friendship Association.
From Geneva, Switzerland, please welcome lawyer Pierre Chevalier, a close friend of Vietnam for many years, and joining lawyer Pierre Chevalier today is his beautiful Vietnamese wife.
So, ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show and thank you so much for joining us today. So, the first question of our discussion today is dedicated to Dr. Tĩnh. Switzerland and Vietnam established the official diplomatic relation in October the 11th, 1971. But actually before that milestone, the friendship between the two countries started way before that. So can you help us elaborate more on the journey and the important milestones that lead to the bilateral cooperation between the two countries?
Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. And thank you for your company, Ambassador.
My pleasure.
And let me take this opportunity as well to congratulate all the organizers, my colleagues from the Foreign Ministry, the embassies in Bern and in Geneva for the excellent job of hosting this very meaningful cultural diplomatic event. And you mentioned earlier that the journey between Vietnam and Switzerland has been it's a wonderful one and full of events and milestones. And it dates back to the 19th century when there was a Swiss company coming to Vietnam to explore business opportunity. But then also we have the legendary story of physician Alexander Yersin. He's now remembered and honored as an honorary citizen of Vietnam. And he's well known not just in Vietnam but the world over. Yeah. So and then we have the story of Switzerland recognizing and establishing the diplomatic relations with Vietnam at the time when Vietnam was experiencing a very terrible war against another Western power. So those are the excellent milestones in the bilateral relations. But that's not just it. We have more, right? We have the development of the bilateral relations with a lot of achievements in the bilateral relations between Vietnam and Switzerland. And the latest example was the visit by the Swiss Vice President to Vietnam, and the two sides reaffirmed the commitment to bring the tie to a higher level with a lot of practical cooperation and political economic cooperation projects.
Mm-hmm. Well, very interesting information. Thank you so much.
And this second question I would like to dedicate to Ms. Vail. Madam Vail, you have witnessed the 50 years journey of the two country relations. And is there any story that left a special impression on you?
Dạ, nói đi. Rồi, chị nói đi. Dạ, theo chương trình mình nói đi.
Chương trình của ai?
Bơn mình nói đi.
So I would like to repeat the questions dedicated to Ms. Vail. Madam Vail, you have witnessed the 50-year journey of the two countries' relations. Is there any story that left a special impression on you?
Yes. First of all, I would like to thank all the people here for the invitation to participate in this festive, warm ambience. I'm very happy here now. To answer your question, yes. I was in Vietnam for the first time in 1986, just before the Doi Moi Congress, Party Congress, and so I had my first impression of the warm welcoming there, and I have seen a lot in the whole country. Then, in September 1996, General Nguyen Vuong Giap, visited Switzerland, and in the end of his goodwill tour, he met with Swiss friends. And this was an extraordinary meeting. The general thanked all the old friends for their solidarity during hard times and put it a very strong focus on peace in the world.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Vale. And our next question is dedicated to lawyer Schifferle from Geneva. So you has also been there. Hi there. You have also been there and witnessed the development of Vietnam. And can you share with us some of the activities that you participated in terms of boosting the cooperation between the two countries?
Hello, good afternoon Vietnam. Xin chào, nước Việt Nam tại Thụy Sỹ.
Oh, wow.
I was actually as a war reporter in the southern part of Vietnam in September 71 when we learned the establishment of the diplomatic relation between Switzerland and the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. I returned after the end of the war. I returned to Vietnam in 1988 for the first time, and since then nearly every year I made 1 or 2 visits to Vietnam. So it was possible for me to witness the amazing progress and development of the country, the Vietnamese economy, especially the construction of bridges, roads, the sprawling cities, and also the tourism which developed at a very fast speed. Personally, my family and myself, we had invested in a big shop of Swiss products in Hanoi in 1997. And then we started the construction of a hotel resort, a 5-star hotel resort along the beach of Huy Ne in the province of Binh Thuan, close to the city of Van Thiet.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Schifferle. There's a lot of things that you've been with Vietnam, and we can see that from economic trade and tourism and hotel. So we would love to hear more from you, but due to time restrictions, so maybe we move on to the other question.
And speaking of the economic situation, I would like to have this question dedicated to the ambassadors, Ivo. We are under the pressure of the pandemic COVID-19, and it's had the great impact on the social, economic, and the current situation has shown us so many challenges. So the cooperation between Vietnam and Switzerland on so many levels, can you share how the two countries had support each other in that situation?
Certainly, the COVID pandemic has been a huge challenge for every country in the world, and also for Vietnam and Switzerland. And this challenge, I think, has brought the cooperation together even closer and more tighter. First of all, Switzerland does participate in the global COVID pandemic fight, mainly through COVAX, but also through other multilateral instruments. But we had, of course, a cooperation here in Vietnam as well. When Minister Cassis, Vice President Cassis, visited in early August, we were able to contribute medical equipment to this quite substantial amount, I think 5 million Swiss francs, or 123 billion dong, which were really timely in arriving here at the time when the fourth wave really took place. But we also work closely with the Swiss companies here, especially in the pharmaceutical sector, but also in the logistical sector, where companies like Zulig or DKSH enable the arrival of vaccines and equipment, which are crucial at the moment. And we have our cooperation program that we have just launched for the next 4-year period, which will also be adapted as much as possible to the needs and to the new needs of Vietnam to promote its economic and socio-economic development program. So many areas, and I think it strengthened our relationship even more.
Thank you. On this note, Ambassador Lê Linh Lan, would you like to add more on that, on the sharing of Ambassador Ivo?
Sure. I think that I totally agree with a lot of Ambassador Ivo just said. I think that a friend in need is a friend indeed. And this is very true for the friendship and excellent cooperation between our two countries during this challenging time. The recent successful visit to Vietnam by Swiss Vice President Foreign Minister Ignacio Cassis, and especially the emergency package of medical equipment valued at $125 billion, send a clear message of trust, solidarity, commitment, and long-term engagement with Vietnam.
Well, thank you, Ambassador Lê Linh Lan. And the last question is for Ambassador Ivo and also Dr. Tĩnh. What about future cooperation between the two countries?
You want to take it first?
Ambassador,
okay, very
you.
good. It's hard to look into the crystal ball. It's always a little bit risky, but I think I gladly take the plunge, because I think the solid foundation of Swiss-Vietnamese relations really makes it relatively easy to say this. We have such a broad and robust cooperations in many fields, in the political field, in the economic field, also in culture, in research. I think these are really the main trajectories where we keep strengthening our cooperation. We've had high-level visits this year with our Vice President, many visits in the past, and I think this very well-established tradition will continue in the future. Both countries are negotiating a free trade agreement where there is a lot of political impetus at the moment, and we're confident that this process can be brought to an early conclusion, which will really open up many more opportunities for each side, for both countries' companies to invest, to trade, and to really put the economic foundation on even a stronger basis. I think what's very important, and what this event today shows as well, it's people-to-people relations that I think are key to strengthening further and developing further our relations. This discussion is a very good example. But I think once borders open up, we will have more travel, more tourism, more exchanges between business people, politicians, but also research. And I think this will be the key event and the key possibility to strengthen further our relations.
Absolutely. Dr. Tĩnh?
Well, I'm absolutely on the same page with the ambassador for that matter. So I have just a few things to add. One is the potential for cooperation, I think, is huge. One of the favorite topics of cooperation, areas of cooperation, in my view, is innovation. You know, because Switzerland is a powerhouse in innovation, and Vietnam is very much in need of innovation to bring the country on to the next level of development. So that is one of my one item on my wish list. But I think it's going to be realized with the efforts on the part of Switzerland and Vietnam. The second area is pharmaceutical industry cooperation. Again, this is another area of strength on the part of Switzerland, and Vietnam is, I think, is a capable partner together with Switzerland to realize its potential in pharmaceutical industry cooperation. And the last one is tourism. You know, Switzerland and Vietnam are both well known in the world for attractions and tourist sites. That can generate a lot of dividends and benefits for the people of the two countries.
Right.
So those are the areas that I think the two sides should further leverage on to make this relationship a success story.
Well,
Yes.
thank you very much, Ambassador and Dr. Tĩnh. And that has wrapped up this section of discussion. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, talking about the friendship and people-to-people exchange during the past 50 years between Vietnam and Switzerland, we shouldn't forget to mention the physical and mental support of Swiss people to Vietnam.
Absolutely. This meaningful support has deepened the friendship and cohesion between the two countries. And to shed more light on this issue, I would like to introduce a very special guest, Please welcome Ms. Micheline Lutert, the wife of the late Swiss ambassadors to Vietnam, Ambassador George Lutert, for the period 1995-2000, who initiated the group of Francophone ambassadors spouse in Hanoi and directly participated in the many volunteer activities for the children in the highlands. Ms. Lutert, during the period of 1995 to 2000, you and your husband, late Ambassador George Lutert, made important contributions to bringing large Swiss companies to invest in Vietnam and helped promote relations between the two countries. Would you share more of your experience, your memories of this period?
Well, good afternoon. I'm very honored to be part of this program, and I did leave a big piece of my heart in Vietnam. Yes, we worked very hard to maintain the cooperation, the economical cooperation, but one of my best souvenirs was that our house was filled with music, because my husband, late husband, believed that music was a link between different cultures and that this could bring people together. So he put together a program to rehabilitate the VNSO, and so we had always a lot of musicians coming from Switzerland to help the Vietnam Symphony to get back on their feet. It was just marvelous to have all these concerts, the first concerts again in Vietnam, classical music. And also I had a choir that we formed in our residence with about 12 different nationalities, and we had many CDs made with the VNSO, with our choir, and I think this was just a wonderful time and very
Mrs.
rewarding.
Luther, I also learned that you came up with the idea of setting up a group of Francophone spouse. So can you tell us more about that?
I didn't understand your question. It wasn't
you
very
came up with the
clear.
idea. You came up with the idea of setting up a Francophone spouse ambassador group.
Oh yes. In fact, it wasn't ambassador spouses. It was French-speaking ladies that would get together every Tuesday afternoon and have a coffee and a nice chat together. And we decided that instead of each working in our little corner, we could put our energies together and do bigger things. And so we did found the group, le groupe de femmes francophones. And the ladies had one thing in common, that we all came to Hanoi following our husbands. So we didn't have much choice, in fact, but we really enjoyed it. And we sponsored an orphanage, and we helped them get really well organized. And we had another program with ladies that were planting vegetables. And with the agronomist of the French embassy, we taught them how to grow clean vegetable and have a bigger crop. So we decided to give $1,000, and each lady became worth of $100, interest-free. And in fact, instead of giving back the money, once they had enough money, they could give the $100 to a next lady. And this was a wonderful program, because I heard that all these ladies got together and made a cooperative of and were growing vegetables to bring to Hanoi market and to sell to all the expats that were very fond of these clean vegetables.
It's a really fantastic idea, and I think that your activities would help bring more fun and happier life to people, especially the children in the highlands. So thank you so much for this sharing.
You're very welcome.
Năm 2020, Việt Nam có quy mô GDP là 343 tỷ đô la Mỹ, đứng thứ 37 thế giới và thứ 4 ở ASEAN, là một trong 16 nền kinh tế mới nổi thành công nhất theo tạp chí The Economist. Trong giai đoạn từ 2016 tới 2020, GDP trung bình của Việt Nam đạt 5,9%, thuộc top 10 nước tăng trưởng cao nhất thế giới. Tổng kim ngạch xuất nhập khẩu của Việt Nam chính thức vượt mốc 500 tỷ đô la Mỹ vào năm 2019 và đạt trên 545 tỷ đô la Mỹ một năm sau đó. Năm 2020, chỉ số đổi mới sáng tạo toàn cầu của Việt Nam được xếp thứ 42 trên 131 nước, đứng đầu nhóm 29 quốc gia có cùng mức thu nhập. Tính đến hết năm 2020, đã có 140 quốc gia và vùng lãnh thổ đầu tư vào Việt Nam với hơn 33.000 dự án, trong đó có nhiều nhà đầu tư lớn nhất thế giới đến từ các quốc gia phát triển. Với việc đàm phán và ký kết thành công 15 hiệp định thương mại tự do song phương và đa phương quan trọng, trong đó có những hiệp định thương mại tự do thế hệ mới lớn nhất thế giới. Việt Nam có thể tiếp cận thị trường của hơn 60 nền kinh tế với tổng GDP chiếm gần 90% GDP toàn cầu. Thế và lực của Việt Nam tiếp tục được củng cố và nâng cao trên trường quốc tế khi Việt Nam hoàn thành xuất sắc các nhiệm vụ trọng trách trong khuôn khổ các diễn đàn, tổ chức đa phương quan trọng của khu vực và thế giới. Trong 10 năm tới, Việt Nam định hướng phát triển nhanh và bền vững dựa trên nền tảng chủ yếu là khoa học công nghệ, đổi mới sáng tạo và chuyển đổi số. Một nền chính trị và xã hội ổn định, nguồn nhân lực dồi dào và chất lượng, vị thế, uy tín ngày càng cao trên trường quốc tế. Chúng tôi sẽ đồng hành cùng sự phát triển của bạn. Việt Nam là điểm đến tiềm năng.
Vietnam has been and will always strive to be a safe and attractive destination for foreign investors. As of July 2021, Switzerland had more than 170 FDI projects with a total registered capital of more than 1.9 billion US dollars, ranking 20th out of 140 countries and territories with direct investment capital in Vietnam.
And to learn more about the economic and trade cooperation between Vietnam and Switzerland, we are now connecting to our guests in Switzerland. I would like to introduce two guests to join our conversation today. Dr. Philipp Rossler, Honorary Consult of Vietnam in Zug, Switzerland, former Vice Chancellor of Germany, former Federal Minister of Economy and Technology for Germany, and Mr. Blaise Matti, Head of the Federation of Enterprises of French-speaking Switzerland.
And in Hanoi, present at the studio today, I would like to introduce Mr. Trần Thanh Hải, Deputy Director, Import and Export Department, Ministry of Industry and Trade. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us and welcome to our program. So question number one is dedicated to Mr. Rossler. So you were appointed as the first and only, up to this point, Honorary Consul of Vietnam in Zurich, Switzerland. And the timing is very special. It's on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the relationship between the two countries, Vietnam and Switzerland. So this is a very special title. How do you feel about this position?
Yeah, xin chào, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. So, as you can see, I was born once in Vietnam, then adopted to Germany, had the honor to serve to my country. But now I'm living in Switzerland. And now I have the opportunity to give back to the country where I was once born, to Vietnam. That's a great honor. It's a great duty, but it's even more for me. It's moving and it's a sort of destiny. Okay. So I will contribute and happy to have this great title and role.
This year marks the 50th anniversary of the diplomatic relation between Vietnam and Switzerland, and it also marked the 30th year of economic cooperation between the two countries. So what can you tell us about the trade and cooperation opportunities between the two countries?
So we just heard so many good things about Switzerland and Vietnam. And one major thing they have in common is still not mentioned. And that's we both have hard-working people, very skilled, highly educated people. And they are the driving force of the economy. And for all the investors abroad, look into Vietnam, you will see that based on the relationship and based on the things they have in common, it's a great place for investment because of the people. Not only because of the economy of numbers and figures. No, it's about people, hardworking, and I think that's since 30 years in terms of economic relationship and 50 years in terms of diplomatic relationship.
Now we come to a very specific question, which is the negotiation of the free trade agreement. It took 9 years for the FTA between Vietnam and the EFTA, and then last year in August, the EVFTA officially took effect. So how has it impacted trade and investment between the two countries?
I think global trade is always good for all the players who are involved. Open market, free trade, and fair competition. That's the basis for prosperity and for well-being of societies. And so I hope that the recent coming into effect free trade agreements will support both sides, will foster trade and growth and jobs on both sides. And that's exactly what we can expect from a free trade agreement between Vietnam and Switzerland, the EFTA, because there are so many things which can be shared and trade can be such a success. And so if I have a wish for both of the countries and the regions to the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relationship, then that the politicians, and now I'm not anymore an active politician, will conclude as soon as possible the free trade agreement benefiting Switzerland and Vietnam.
Well, that's a very insightful information that you gave us. Thank you so much.
Và bây giờ chúng ta sẽ có một câu hỏi dành cho ông Hải. Thưa ông Trần Thanh Hải, với những chia sẻ vừa rồi của ngài Philip Roessler về thì ông có đánh giá gì từ phía Việt Nam và Bộ Công Thương về tác động của EVFTA đối với quan hệ thương mại đầu tư giữa Việt Nam và Thụy Sĩ?
Even the side FTA, Switzerland is a country in the center of Europe and also one of the leading economies in Europe and the world. The role of Switzerland plays a very important role in development cooperation with Vietnam. Since last August, the EVFTA came into effect. However, Switzerland is not a member of EVFTA. It belongs to another bloc, which is the EFTA. The bloc consists of 4 countries. They are also major economies, but they are not the members of EVFTA. However, in general, we see that all the European countries enjoy the very close cooperations with Vietnam. The Switzerland's policies towards Vietnam is similar to that of other European countries. Trade relations between Vietnam and other European countries, including Switzerland, is almost the same. So we see that with the EVFTA, we can increase export to European countries, including Switzerland. The export products of Vietnam include mobile electronics, machineries, textiles, footwear, timbers, and fisheries. We can see that the European countries, including Switzerland, have high standards in terms of technological requirements and the standards, especially for aquaculture products. So this will serve as both the motivation for the Vietnamese businesses to strive to meet the requirements of these very strict markets. Thank you very much,
As you
Mr.
may
Trần
know,
Thanh Hải.
2020 is the year the world witnessed rapid, complex, multidimensional and unpredictable changes due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, Vietnam's import and export of goods still stands firm and maintains its growth momentum, especially agricultural exports.
Thanks to layers and layers of alluvial being deposited slowly and quietly by the river flow through time, the Red River Delta and the Mekong Delta were formed and developed into fertile and prosperous regions. Located in the north of the country, the Red River Delta is one of the cradles of this wet rice civilization. In the south, the Mekong Delta is the largest rice-growing region of Vietnam and contributes more than 90% of the country's rice exports. This has helped to secure Vietnam's position among the world's top rice exporters, according to the General Statistics Office in 2020. In 2005, though Vietnam's rice exports surpassed 5 million tons per year and ranked second in the world, the country's rice industry still faced many challenges. Rice prices remained low due to unstable quality. Farmers had low income, while enterprises faced many risks that could affect their revenues. And most importantly, Vietnamese rice hadn't had a brand. Finding a way for homegrown rice to become more valuable and gain a foothold in the international market has been concerning agricultural engineer Hồ Quang Cua for years. A son of Sóc Trăng province, he has spent many years researching rice cultivation.
Vùng đất này, bây giờ hàng trăm năm trước nó đã cho gạo ngon, thì bây giờ nếu mà chúng ta tiếp tục chọn giống ở trong này, cái giống lúa cải thiện ngắn ngày, phát triển lại một cái thành tựu của tiền nhân mà đã bị mai một. Cái xuất phát của mình là cái năng lực nó kém, nhưng mà cái tâm huyết thì có thừa. Cái tâm nguyện của chúng tôi nó cũng truyền lửa được cho cái thế hệ đàn em.
After a lot of research and efforts, Hồ Quang Cua and his team have successfully bred the SD variety. Thanks to its special characteristics, in 2019, SD25 was named the world's best rice at the World Rice Conference. The quality of Vietnamese rice has been assured and a brand has been established in the international market.
Tôi mua ăn thử, mà ăn thử thì thấy dẻo, ngon, nên thích rồi cũng giới thiệu bạn bè mua thử về ăn, bạn bè cũng khen ngon.
In 2020, despite the complicated development of COVID-19 and its impact on society and the economy, Vietnam still exported 6.15 million tons of rice, which was worth $3.07 billion, an increase of 9.3% in value compared to 2019. In August 2020, the EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement officially came into effect and opened up a great opportunity for Vietnamese produce to penetrate world markets.
Định là chúng ta cũng tập trung làm đạt chuẩn, làm có thương hiệu và chúng ta tận dụng mọi cơ hội để sản phẩm nông sản của Việt Nam, đặc biệt sản phẩm trái cây của chúng ta sẽ đi được toàn bộ 27 nước của Liên minh châu Âu.
In the first 7 months of 2021, COVID-19 continued to rage, but Vietnam achieved impressive results in agricultural exports. The country exported $28.6 billion worth of rice, a 26.7% increase year-on-year. Exports of the main group of produce, including fruit and vegetable, manioc, pepper, and cashew nut reached $12.2 billion, while fishery products exports reached $4.9 billion. However, since world markets are demanding increasingly high quality, Vietnam's agricultural production must continue to change its focus to quality instead of quantity, applying technology and digitalization, and strengthen the link between production, processing, and preserving to create a sustainable and highly effective value chain. In the future, thanks to hard work and business acumen, Vietnamese agricultural products will achieve new miracles. The quality of Vietnamese rice will continue to be affirmed and more Vietnamese brands will be recognized in the international market.
Vâng, ông Hải, ông có thể đánh giá thêm về những kết quả mà chúng ta thu được trong hoạt động xuất khẩu của Việt Nam đến với Thụy Sĩ cũng như thị trường EU trong 3 năm trở lại đây, và cái thế mạnh của chúng ta khi mà xuất khẩu sang thị trường này là gì ạ?
Trong cái quan hệ thương mại
in the relations between trade relation between Vietnam and Switzerland, there's there is a gold. There's a product that has become the main item for export and import. Other products such as electronics, consumption good, textile and footwear and seafood. They are the strengths of Vietnam in the EU in general and in Switzerland in particular. For the industrial relations between Vietnam and Switzerland, the Switzerland has been very famous for the highly advanced technology. For example, the switch watch that is very well known in the world, and many other technologies such as the fiber technology. And despite of the very small scale country, however, Switzerland has been ranked as the 20 innovative countries in the world and the 6th in Europe. And the investment from Switzerland to Vietnam has become more significant. For example, Nestle, Zurich Pharma, and for example, Nestle has been participating in the productions of agricultural products and processing products, and Nestle has become a company which has purchased a lot of agricultural input from the localities in Vietnam. Nestle has been named as one of the leading
Can you please
product.
share some strengths and successful experiences of Geneva enterprises that Vietnamese enterprises can refer to?
The framework conditions in Vietnam are very impressive, and the people I talked to said to me clearly that they were ready to invest, to continue their investments and to invest more in Vietnam, because as it was already mentioned, there is still a very skilled workforce. Generally, the conditions for business are good now. They maybe have to improve still for the coming future, but they're already very good. And I think that the experiences made by our companies are excellent. You know that we need to have a good cooperation between Switzerland and Vietnam as regards, for instance, IT. We talked about agriculture, but IT plays a key role in our relationship. We mentioned pharmaceutical industry, of course, which is not really based in Geneva, more in Basel, but we're talking about Switzerland and Vietnam more than Geneva and Vietnam. So what I would say, if we want to keep the amount of investment that we already have between Switzerland and Vietnam, we need to continue to improve the framework conditions for business. We need stability, we need innovation, we need technological expertise, we need connections, we need exchanges, and we need sometimes financial support as well.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Mate.
Bên cạnh những điểm mạnh mà chúng ta vừa được lắng nghe từ bác Mate, thì chúng ta có thể thấy là có rất là nhiều những cái thử thách, ví dụ như là sự
challenges that we have to face, for example, climate change, or most recently the COVID-19 pandemic. So according to Mr. Hai,
có những cái ý kiến như thế nào về cái sự hợp tác?
So how do you see the cooperation between Vietnam and Switzerland in the time to come? Energy, environment are very promising area for cooperation. Switzerland is also one of the leading country in implementing the projects on clean energy, green technology. At this moment, Switzerland has been implementing projects to support R&D on renewable energy, to promote renewable energy in Vietnam. Vietnam is also a country focusing on the development of renewable energy. And this is also attributed partially to the support of Switzerland. And other sectors, technology sectors, such as automations or AI, in business and service activities, we also can count on Switzerland. They have very strength. Vietnam looks forward to the technology transfer from the Swiss investors.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for your insightful sharing about the economic cooperation between the two countries. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Vietnam has a unique and long-standing culture associated with the nation's history of formation and development. The rich and diverse beauty of Vietnamese culture is the focus of the theme of the next segment of our Vietnam Day in Switzerland today. And the theme is Vietnam Authentic Culture.
To start with this news segment, we would like to introduce Mr. Mai Phan Dũng, Director General, Department of Cultural Diplomacies and UNESCO, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Vietnam. He's also the General Secretary of the National Committee of UNESCO Vietnam to deliver an opening speech.
Việt Nam là một đất nước có nền văn hóa hết sức đậm đà bản sắc, giàu tính nhân văn và đầy sức cuốn hút, được hình thành nên từ một lịch sử hào hùng, từ sự đa dạng về phân bổ dân cư, từ đa dạng về địa hình và vị trí địa chiến lược hết sức quan trọng. Văn hóa Việt Nam không chỉ là tạo nên, hun đúc nên phẩm cách, tâm hồn, khí chất của người Việt Nam, mà còn tạo nên nguồn sức mạnh tổng hợp để giúp dân tộc ta gìn giữ độc lập, bảo vệ và phát triển đất nước. Ngày nay, khi nói về vai trò của văn hóa thì tại Đại hội Trung ương 9 khóa 11 của Đảng thì đã khẳng định văn hóa là nền tảng nội sinh quan trọng, đảm bảo cho sự phát triển bền vững và bảo vệ vững chắc Tổ quốc. Đại hội Đảng lần thứ 13 cũng khẳng định phát triển văn hóa là nền tảng tinh thần. Ngoại giao văn hóa, một trong 3 thành tố của nền ngoại giao toàn diện, đã hết sức nỗ lực để phát huy tối đa sức mạnh của văn hóa Việt Nam, làm lan tỏa những giá trị tốt đẹp của người Việt ra bạn bè thế giới, hỗ trợ thúc đẩy phát triển kinh tế, thương mại, đầu tư, tạo thành nguồn sức mạnh mềm để củng cố và phát huy vị thế, uy tín của Việt Nam trên trường quốc tế. Cũng trong thời gian qua thì ngoại giao văn hóa đã được triển khai rộng rãi và hết sức bài bản ở trong và ngoài nước. Ở trong nước thì đó là việc tổ chức hàng loạt các lễ hội văn hóa, các kỳ liên hoan nghệ thuật, các kỳ hội chợ, quảng bá du lịch và giới thiệu sản phẩm. Ở ngoài nước, tất cả các cơ quan đại diện của Việt Nam thì đều phối hợp với các đơn vị trong nước, chính quyền và người dân sở tại để tổ chức hàng loạt các hoạt động ngoại giao văn hóa hết sức phong phú và đa dạng về hình thức và nội dung. Trong đó nổi bật nhất là việc vinh danh các danh nhân Việt Nam, đặc biệt là vinh danh Chủ tịch Hồ Chí Minh, tổ chức các tuần ngày Việt Nam ở nước ngoài và tổ chức hàng loạt các hoạt động ngoại giao văn hóa khác trên các lĩnh vực nghệ thuật, điện ảnh, ẩm thực, thời trang, v.v. Trong thời gian tới, tình hình quốc tế và tình hình dịch bệnh sẽ có nhiều diễn biến còn hết sức phức tạp. Ngoại giao văn hóa sẽ tiếp tục được triển khai một cách linh hoạt, phát huy tối đa vai trò của công nghệ thông tin, gắn kết với các nhiệm vụ chính trị, hỗ trợ cho các nhiệm vụ về kinh tế để tạo nên một sức mạnh tổng hợp, góp phần phát triển đất nước ta.
Thank you, Mr. Mai Phan Dũng, for your sharing. When getting to know Vietnam, coming to Vietnam, many of our foreign friends share that what impressed them may be the most image of the rice fields stretching from mountains to mountains, plains to plateaus. Rice production is an indispensable part of the big picture of the agriculture sector of Vietnam.
And for thousands of years, rice has been associated with Vietnamese people and villages and has also become the name of a civilization, the wet rice civilization. So let's take a look at the imprints of the rice plant, the rice grain over time to understand more about the great value of rice that go along with the socio-economic aspect and history of Vietnam.
One special product has been a part of Vietnamese people's lives throughout the country's history and has deeply influenced cultural, social, and economic development. That product is rice. The wet rice civilization originated 10,000 years ago in Southeast Asia and South China. Vietnam is a humid country with plenty of rain and an extensive river system, so the choice of growing rice has occurred to Vietnamese people naturally. Vietnamese people consider rice a heavenly quintessence, thus as precious as pearl. Rice cultivation has led to the establishment of a civilization and impacted people's lifestyle and mindset. Rice has become an indispensable part of Vietnamese family meals. From simple family meals to fine dining, from main courses to snacks, rice has been made into various dishes in terms of taste, color, and complexity in many places around this S-shaped country. Each dish carries Vietnamese people's love and respect for their tradition and origin. Not only a symbol of prosperity, but rice has also become a part of Vietnamese people's cultural and spiritual life. The Northern Delta is one of the first cradles of the wet rice civilization, whose history spans thousands of years. In communities served by the Red River, unique traditional cultural values were created, from which agriculture, settlement, and village culture started to develop. Cultural values formed during the wet rice civilization are preserved to this day. They can be found in architecture, traditional craft villages, the uniqueness of periodic markets, traditional festivals, music, and beliefs. Through time, the wet rice civilization has contributed to the development of a strong Vietnamese cultural identity.
Ladies and gentlemen, the wet rice civilization has formed many unique and cultural values of the Vietnamese people. To learn more about the wet rice civilization, we invited to the studio today Professor Dr. Bùi Quang Thanh, and he's in charge of the culture segment Vietnam National Institute of Culture and Arts. Xin cảm ơn ông Bùi Quang Thanh đã tham gia chương trình của chúng tôi ngày hôm nay.
Mr. Thanh for joining us today.
Thưa ông Thanh, có vẻ như là nền văn minh lúa nước thì có rất nhiều nước, trong đó có Việt Nam. Chúng ta cùng chia sẻ.
Including Vietnam shares the wet rice civilization. So how is the Vietnamese wet rice culture different from other countries?
Xin chào các bạn Thụy Sĩ và Việt Nam.
Good morning, Swiss and Vietnamese friends.
Những người trực tiếp và gián tiếp
afternoon audiences
truyền hình hữu nghị này.
Who are attending directly and virtually. I would like to introduce a little bit about the unique values of Vietnam's wet rice culture when mentioning about the wet rice civilization. This is an ancient civilization. The scientists confirmed that it dated back for thousands of years ago. Many countries in the southern part of Yangtze River of China and other countries are seen as the cradles of wet rice civilizations. Apart from the common values of the wet rice civilizations, with the farming techniques of the farmers to control the water for agriculture, for husbandry, for irrigation, among others, Vietnam, with this unique wet rice civilization, is quite different. As follows. First, the scientist community believes that Vietnam is one of the cradles of the wet rice civilizations, dating back from more than 10,000 years ago. And there are evidence, the relics found about the grains from Hoa Binh about 10,000 years ago, as well as the tools for cooking, for cooking from the rice grains, for irrigations, for productions. Apart from the Hoa Binh culture site, which shocked the world when it was discovered, there are many other archaeological relics and documents that helped prove the special culture and civilization of Vietnam, for example, for the burial of the dead castles. We also see that we have many traditional stories about the king, the Hùng kings, to teach the people how to go hunting, how to do farming. And one of the very special symbols for how to control the waters is from Sơn Tinh and Thủy Tinh stories.
Thưa giáo sư, thì bên cạnh
professors,
về nền văn minh lúa nước,
so besides the characteristic of the wet rice civilizations, Vietnamese culture is also known for its diversity derived from folk activities and royal traditions. Many Vietnamese cultural heritages have been recognized by UNESCO as a world intangible cultural heritage. Clearly, how about understand more about the values? So apart from the unique values of the wet rice cultures of Vietnam, it helps to it gives a birth to the Đông Sơn culture, especially when the Vietnamese people migrated from the northern mountainous part down to the Red Delta, which formed the Red River civilizations, as well as the civilizations among Mã River and other rivers in the central and the south. So, while building, with the development of the wet rice civilization, the Viet and Mông people and other indigenous people groups came from the southern part of China, all agreed to work together, to live together, and together to develop a shared culture. And therefore, it can be said that the culture of the multinational community of Vietnam is very unique. So how about
trong cái số mà các cái di sản
in the cultural relics, intangible relics, heritages recognized by UNESCO, the first one was the nhã nhạc court music of the Huế Imperial. It was recognized in 2003, and the two heritages are included in the representatives of cultural heritage of the humanity. For example, the quan họ Bắc Ninh, and also the worship of Hùng Vương in Phú Thọ, and then tại Thụy in the south, and the folk songs of Vizan in Nghệ Tĩnh.
Chúng ta sẽ cùng bàn tới những cái đó ở phần tiếp theo.
Very recently, these 10 singing by the Tây Nung ethnic minority groups. Now I would like to invite you to watch a video
the
clip.
Huế Royal Court Music, one of the famous intangible cultural heritages of Vietnam. To better understand and enjoy it, let's watch our following clip featuring Huế Royal Court Music. Vâng, thưa giáo sư Bùi Quang Thanh, là một người nghiên cứu rất là nhiều năm về
studied the traditional Vietnamese culture for long time. Can you share more about the unique cultural features of Royal Court Music of Huế? For the nhã nhạc, that is the first heritage recognized by UNESCO. I would like to brief about this nhã nhạc. It is a term that is a music in the court. For example, it's very similar to babaku or the official court in China and in Korea. And nhã nhạc was born along with the formations of the feudal court when the King Lý moved the capital to Thăng Long. He established a management board, and he paid attention to the music, to the court music. And after that, the Chen and Lê dynasties paid a lot of attention to this. But after a long period, that nhã nhạc was not taken care of, and in the Nguyen dynasty, nhã nhạc was restored and extremely flourished and developed. with a lot of orchestras and teams to play the court music. There are many unique cultural heritages, unique features of this court music, and among the traditional music, the nhạc remain as one of the most respected, and from the 13th century until the Nguyễn Dynasty, from 1802 to 1945. I think that was the period of significant development of the
là loại hình văn hóa đầu tiên của Việt Nam được công nhận là di sản văn hóa phi vật thể thế giới. Đến năm 2008 thì được công nhận là di sản văn hóa phi vật thể đại diện của nhân loại. Và từ đó đến nay có 13 di sản văn hóa phi vật thể của Việt Nam được UNESCO công nhận, trong đó mới nhất là hát then, thể loại
13 heritages of Vietnam recognized by UNESCO, in which the ten singing. Can you share with us why ten singing was recognized as an intangible cultural heritage? In 2019, the ten singing was incorporated as a cultural heritage representative of the humanity. The folk songs by the Tây Nung Thai ethnic groups in 17 provinces in the north of Vietnam, from Sơn La, Lai Châu, and Điện Biên, and many other provinces in the north of Vietnam, Quảng Ninh and Bắc Giang. And the ten singing was a very significant folk songs of Tây Nung and Thai ethnic groups for over 100 or 1,000 years of history. The local people, for example, the ten singing became a culture that associate the spiritual life of the people in those regions. It could convey the spiritual activities and also the awareness and also the concept of the natural phenomenon, and also by the aspiration for a life or for the agricultural production.
Chúng ta đã nói về văn minh lúa nước.
We talk about the wet rye cultivation.
Vậy nhưng làm thế nào để những giá trị
and also the ten singing? How can we preserve the unique and original values of those heritages in the community?
Thực ra thì để nói đến việc bảo tồn
to promote and to safeguard the cultural heritages, this is a dream for us. We can only safeguard the intangible heritage. The preservation is very complex and it requires a lot of challenges to be met, and we need the community, we need the management from the authority to pay attention to. First of all, since the formations of our country, the party and state always have a policy to protect and to preserve the intangible cultural heritages. However, to put those policies into practice, there's still a lot of shortcomings and limitations. The first, we need to raise awareness of the local authorities and also the central authorities on the values of intangible cultural heritages, how to promote it, how to safeguard it. And we need to have a policy and mechanism to support the artisan. They are the group, the core group to decide on the survivals of those heritages. And we need to have the cohesion and coordination between the practice of cultural heritages and the promotions of tourism, and also to incorporate those activities into the school. And we need to encourage the young generation to have a more awareness and understanding about the heritages, so that we could have the foundation to fall in love or to have the good passion, a strong passion for the culture. Then we need to promote and to build or to invest on the development of cultural industry. We need a budget and resources, in order to conduct festivals. And Vietnam is very well known as a festival country with more than 10,000 festivals organized on an annual basis. And we need support from the international community, from Switzerland, and we stand ready to welcome your support to assist us in developing the promotions of cultural heritages. And we work to, we need to work hand in hand with the tourism sector so that we could promote this intangible cultural heritages.
Please enjoy a performance of Tuyên Quang Then Singing, performed by the artist Chu Văn Thạch and other artists from Tuyên Quang Ethnic Art Troupe to understand more about this particular type of Vietnamese traditional music.
Càng đùa cắn ly lầy lúc lử khỏi phẳng khai tèn công bên cái chùa cắn lồng na nằm bên cái càng đi làm đời cắn ông pin cây liền khăn răng răng ha vằn du tơ nằm đầy hình lòng thương long tinh thủy phù đức vua cần khấn ngự đầy hắn đại hình tiếng cây khăn lồng lót ha vằn lọt khấn móc phương đông ngọc thọ xuất khai phương như cao thiên hạ khỏi đó thấu cuồn sấm tớ thế bà nữa bôn lung tỏa tam tiếp bàn trắng gà hết bữa ơi đã nhất là vì thái lương tiêu chỉ ban đêm là giờ tí vi chúng lục ra mà phần ta mà nguyện nhậm quy ân binh định mậu kỵ canh tân phân xuân hạ thu đông cử quy chẳng ta ra mi địa lý thiên văn chẳng ta ra mi khinh vàng nhất là
How do you feel about the 10 singing performance? I would like to provide some very interesting information about the previous performance. It's a song of the day ethnic group, talking about origin of day and night. The artist used a special kind of lute called đàn tình to accompany the lyrics of the song. The dance group were hình mạ bells, which means horse bell, to create a high-pitched sound effect.
So it was a very interesting performance, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I myself, I find it very interesting and learned a lot after our discussion with Professor Bùi Quang Thanh. And again, I myself feel very proud of the Vietnamese cultural heritage. And I'm wondering, what about the cultural heritage of Switzerland? Of course, it has a lot to share.
Yeah. Switzerland is the country with many long-standing cultural heritages. The musical masterpiece, The Soldier's Tales, written more than 100 years ago, is an example. It is a theatrical work composed in 1918. It was written by the famous Swiss writer Charles Ferdinand Ramus, sent to music by the great French-Russian composer Igor Stravinsky. And nowadays, The Soldier's Tale is still considered a monument of world composers. And in April this year, The Soldier's Tale was performed in Vietnam with a new touch
of many modern elements. For example, chamber music mixed with modern sounds, theatrical and visual art, and this special version was composed by Japanese conductor Hana Tetsuji and performed by 3 actors and 7 musicians of the Vietnam National Symphony Orchestra. And French director Marcelino Martin Valery served as art director and painter Nguyễn Mỹ Anh as illustrator.
You might probably wonder what creates the vitality of this musical masterpiece, which is more than 100 years old now. To answer these questions, let's watch an excerpt from The Soldier's Tale.
Un jour, elle lui dit « Je ne sais rien encore de toi. Raconte-moi. Raconte-moi un peu de toi. »
C'est dans le temps, tout là-bas, dans le temps que j'étais soldat. Tout là-bas chez ma mère, dans mon village, loin, bien loin. Et j'ai oublié le chemin. Si on y allait,
C'est défendu.
on sera vite revenu et personne ne saura rien. Pourquoi pas? Peut-être que ma mère me reconnaîtra cette fois et elle viendrait habiter avec nous et comme ça, on aurait tout.
Et alors, il a réfléchi et il se disait
Pourquoi pas? Peut-être que ma mère me reconnaîtra cette fois. Elle viendrait habiter avec nous et comme ça, on aurait tout. J'aurais tout ce que j'avais avant et tout ce que j'ai à présent.
Ils sont partis. Ils sont près d'arriver. On commence à voir le clocher. Voilà à présent la borne frontière. Elle est restée en arrière. Il appelle, il s'est retourné.
Vietnam is a country with a rich cultural tradition and history, with many heritages known to the world. This is the perfect condition for Vietnam to become an attractive destination for tourists. What's so interesting about Vietnam? Let's find out more in this segment called Amazing Country.
Well, may I recall this funny saying, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. And I think it's true not only for men, but for everyone.
It's true for me. Absolutely. Before I set foot in any new land, the first thing I do is to find out more about the local cuisine of that place. And I think that is also true for you. So please leave your comment here to tell us more about your favorite Vietnamese dishes.
Moving on to our program, we are now connecting to a guest in Ho Chi Minh City. We are going to visit the house of Da Anh Vũ, commonly known as Vũ Dino. He's a famous food blogger in Vietnam. Vũ Dino promised to prepare a Vietnamese dish for us. What dish is this? Let's find out more.
Xin chào tất cả các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã đến với chương trình Ngày Việt Nam ở Thụy Sĩ. Mình là Vũ Dino, mình là chủ của kênh YouTube Dinology. Đây là một kênh về phong cách sống cũng như ẩm thực. Nhưng mà ẩm thực lại chiếm phần lớn bởi vì ẩm thực cũng là một cái niềm đam mê vô cùng lớn với mình. Và hôm nay thì mình sẽ mang tới chương trình một món ăn vô cùng đặc biệt. Đặc biệt ở một cái điểm là có lẽ là bất kỳ người Việt Nam nào, dù ở Việt Nam hay ở nước ngoài thì đều biết đến món ăn này. Và mình sẽ để cho các bạn đoán bằng việc là chúng ta sẽ giới thiệu nguyên liệu của món ăn này nhé. Và các bạn nhìn vào nguyên liệu của chúng ta ngày hôm nay thì các bạn có thể thấy là xương ống bò này, nạm bò này, đây có hành tây, gừng, hành lá, quế, hồi, thảo quả, hành tím. Và đặc biệt là bên này đó chính là bánh phở. Nói đến đây thì còn đoán làm gì nữa đúng không? Đây chính là món phở bò của Việt Nam. Phở bò là một món ăn vô cùng quen thuộc với tất cả người Việt Nam. Nhưng mà đợt này dịch bệnh ấy thì rất là khó để chúng ta có thể ra ngoài hàng có một bát phở được. Nên là mình quyết định là mình lăn vào bếp và nấu một món phở bò cho riêng mình. Một bát phở bò ngon ấy thì rất là nhiều yếu tố quan trọng. Nào là nước dùng phải đậm vị này, thịt bò thì phải ngon, phải tươi. Rồi tất cả những cái gia vị như quế, hồi, thảo quả thì phải cân bằng. Làm sao để mùi bò và mùi quế, mùi hồi, mùi thảo quả nó được cân bằng với nhau. Không cái gì át đi cái gì, không cái gì làm biến chất cái gì. Nhưng với cá nhân mình thì một thành phần vô cùng quan trọng để làm nên một bát phở bò không thể cưỡng lại được, đó chính là bánh phở. Bánh phở thì nghe tưởng chúng ta nghĩ nó rất là đơn giản, chỉ là một cái phần tinh bột ở trong một bát phở, giống như là cơm ở trong mâm cơm, thì nó không phải là cái gì đáng chú ý. Nhưng với mình thì khác hẳn, bánh phở là linh hồn của một bát phở. Khi mà chúng ta ăn một tô phở ấy thì việc đầu tiên với mình nhá, với cá nhân mình thì mình luôn luôn gấp cái sợi phở lên và ăn sợi phở đầu tiên, chứ không phải là ăn miếng thịt bò. Bởi vì là với mình thì cái sợi phở nó ngấm nước bò, ngấm nước dùng, nó ngon đến đâu thì cái sợi phở nó sẽ tôn lên vị của nước dùng cũng như vị thịt của người nấu phở. Mùa dịch ấy, thì kiếm được bánh phở tươi khá là khó, nên là mình thường hay sử dụng bánh phở khô. May mắn sao ngày hôm nay thì mình đã kiếm được bánh phở tươi. Bánh phở tươi thì nó ngon hơn rất là nhiều các bạn ạ, bởi vì nó được làm từ gạo. Việt Nam thì nổi tiếng là một quốc gia có nền văn minh lúa nước lâu đời, nên là tất cả những món ăn từ gạo của Việt Nam đều làm từ lúa nước Việt Nam. Nên là bánh phở ngon thì các bạn cầm trên tay là các bạn sẽ biết ngay mùi thơm đượm của mùi gạo, và tất cả những sợi phở nó trở nên dài và óng ánh. Đấy chính là bánh phở ngon theo quan điểm của mình. Có một số bạn bè của mình ấy thì rất là cầu kỳ muốn làm bánh phở tại nhà. Nếu cá nhân mình mà làm bánh phở ấy, thì mình sẽ chọn là cái loại gạo đó chính là loại gạo ST25. Đây là một cái loại gạo rất là mới và đang được mệnh danh là gạo ngon nhất thế giới, đến từ Việt Nam. Nên là mình rất là tò mò xem không biết là làm bánh phở từ gạo ST25 thì nó có đặc biệt hơn, ngon hơn như thế nào hay không. Mình mong rằng có cơ hội mình thử cái chuyện này. Còn bây giờ thì có lẽ là chúng ta bắt tay vào làm món phở thôi. Khỏe các bạn. Nguyên liệu bí ẩn đây là con sá sùng. Con sá sùng đã được sấy khô. Con này thì rất là nổi tiếng ở biển Bắc, biển miền Bắc Việt Nam ấy, là ở Vân Đồn, Quảng Ninh. Con sá sùng này là một loài sâu biển. Các bạn nhìn nó giống con sâu không? Này, cái đầu của nó này. Đấy, con sâu biển đây được gọi là một loại bột ngọt tự nhiên, mì chính tự nhiên. Nếu mà các bạn cho vào các loại nước lèo thì nên nghĩ nước lèo nó sẽ ngọt vô cùng và ngọt một cách tự nhiên luôn các bạn ạ. Bản thân mình thì đã đi rất là nhiều nơi, những tỉnh thành khác nhau ở trên Việt Nam hoặc là một số nước trên thế giới, thì mình cũng đã từng được thử phở ở các nước khác nhau, phở bò ở các nước khác nhau ấy. Thì ở mỗi nơi thì người ta có một cách nấu rất là riêng. Chỉ trong Việt Nam thôi, ví dụ như ở Hà Nội hay thành phố Hồ Chí Minh thì phở đã rất là khác nhau rồi. Nếu mà ở trong thành phố Hồ Chí Minh ấy, chúng ta ăn một vị phở khác, nhưng mà ra sân bay là một vị phở khác. Chưa kể đến là ra nước ngoài vị phở nó còn khác nữa. Nhưng mà với cá nhân mình thì có lẽ mình là một người con của Hà Nội, nên với cá nhân mình thì có lẽ là phở Hà Nội thì luôn luôn chiếm một vị trí rất là đặc biệt ở trong tim mình. Một bát phở Hà Nội thì nó rất là đơn giản về các loại rau gia vị, nhưng nó rất là tinh tế và khắt khe trong việc làm nước lèo cũng như là làm thịt bò. Còn so sánh với những bát phở khác như là phở ở trong thành phố Hồ Chí Minh hay phở ở nước ngoài ấy, thì bát phở ở những vùng đó thì mình thấy nó rất là đa dạng về rau gia vị. Riêng các loại rau ăn kèm với cả phở thì nó lên tới gần chục loại, cũng như là cách nấu nước phở cũng rất là khác. Ở đây thì mình chỉ sử dụng quế, hồi, thảo quả làm gia vị thôi, nhưng mà họ thì còn sử dụng thêm rất là nhiều loại hạt khác, những cái loại gia vị nặng mùi hơn để khiến cho bát phở nó trở nên đa dạng trong mùi vị. Mình thì mình ăn ban đầu thì mình không quen, nhưng mà về sau thì mình cũng thấy đó chính là một cái sự thú vị trong cách nấu của những vùng miền khác nhau. Nấu như thế này ấy, làm mình nhớ Hà Nội ghê, mình nhớ phở Hà Nội ghê ấy. Ta-da! Vậy là bát phở đã hoàn thành rồi, tốn rất là nhiều mồ hôi và công sức. Nhưng mà mình tin rằng ăn thì sẽ còn sung sướng hơn nữa các bạn ạ. Trong khi mình đang thưởng thức món phở nấu tại gia thì có lẽ ở đầu cầu Thụy Sĩ thì đã nhận được món quà đặc biệt từ chương trình rồi. Hãy cùng xem ở đầu cầu Thụy Sĩ đã kịp thưởng thức món quà này chưa nhé.
There's a thought in me after watching Vũ Dino cook phở. I have a question for Thùy Linh. Do you find it easy to cook phở dish? Have you ever tried cooking it?
Well, I did. I tried it when I was studying abroad. It took forever and it's not easy. But, you know, once you're done with cooking, it's so delicious to enjoy the dish.
You get my respect because I never thought that it would be that difficult and challenging to cook that traditional phở that I love so much.
And now, as Vũ Dino said, let's see if our guests in Bern have received his gifts, some bowls of phở. Let's check it out. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, ambassadors, how are you doing? How is it phở? Have you tried phở?
We are doing fine, and we have phở here with us, please.
It looks so delicious.
Yes.
Is it hot? It's quite hard to hold.
It smells so nice, so good. Mm.
We wish that we could have phở, some phở bowls here with us too.
Exactly, but I think it's meant for people who in Bern and Geneva more than us now in Hanoi, because I think it's precious for you to have a hot bowl of phở on your hands right now. How are you feeling?
Wonderful. Can you say something?
Yes, yes.
Maybe
Very well.
Maybe we start with Geneva first. Yes.
Well, phở is absolutely delicious, and the smell is just fantastic. So,
I bet you had it thousands times when you were here back in 1995, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and we loved it, and we still love it, and we miss it very much.
Well, thank you so much. How about Bern? I can see that you are enjoying phở.
Sure.
How is it over there?
Yes, we enjoy very good. And also when I'm in Vietnam, I'm always enjoying phở.
Do you know how to cook phở?
No. I mean, I have looked. I have seen cooking phở, but I don't think that I'm really able to do it as it had to be.
Mm-hmm. So, do you remember when is the last time that you had a bowl of phở? When was the last time? I asked that question because I want to see how long have you since the last time you had it.
Last time it was in Switzerland in a Vietnamese restaurant because of COVID-19. Last year I couldn't travel, so there are 2 years I haven't been in Vietnam.
Okay.
Yes.
I know that phở we have a lot of variations. In Vietnamese we know phở bò, phở gà. Even with phở bò we have variations of it too. So can you share a little bit of which kind of phở is your most favorite?
Well, I like them all. I mean, the pho in Hanoi, I like it very much, but also in other parts of the country.
Yeah. Maybe we let you enjoy the bowls of pho and we move to Geneva to check out how they are doing over there. So please enjoy your meal. Thank you. Geneva, how are you feeling?
Yes, the pho is fantastic. A lot of chili, new earth.
New earth. I think it is a good time for.
It's very good time, but we can eat the pho in the morning or for lunch or in the evening all day long.
All day long.
And yeah. And
can I ask you something? Is pho there in Geneva different from the pho in Hanoi, in Vietnam? And do you miss the pho in Vietnam?
we miss the pho in Vietnam.
Very much.
We can see that he meets the pho in Vietnam very much.
It's very good. The pho in Vietnam is very good. It depends. It's very different sometimes from between Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. But the pho in Geneva, I can tell you, it's really very, very good. Thơm quá.
Yes. So, well, thank you so much for your sharing, and I hope that when COVID-19 is over, and you would be able to visit Vietnam, and maybe we can invite you for a bowl of pho, and we can all enjoy it together in Hanoi.
Exactly. Well, thank you very much for your interesting sharing emotions, for your experience of having pho in Vietnam. Well, tonight, after this program together, me and you, Thuling, let's go and have a pho and this on me.
Sure. Okay, we'll do that.
Okay.
Yes, so that is the sharing of our guests from Switzerland and Geneva. We want to thank you so much for sharing the experience of eating pho with us, and we wish you all the best. Thank you. So moving on now.
So besides food, we have just seen some familiar other dishes that reminded us of the Vietnamese exquisite cuisine. We can see some bún chả, bánh mì, and sniff a spring roll. And I think we have so many feeling, the mix of feeling of them right here when watching them through the TV.
And you just watched the clip of the Four Seasons Kitchen. That's the word we use to describe the Vietnamese cuisine because it's so various and diversified, and each season you can enjoy one specialty. So moving on, our program today, we are having lotus tea, which is one of the very special tea of Hanoi, and to enjoy it in autumn time is the best. And let's have some tea now. And together here with me is Michael Geber, our friend from Switzerland.
Thank you very much. And thank you for having me today.
Okay, let me serve you some tea first, and then we'll begin our conversation.
Yes.
It's perfect to have tea, to drink tea in autumn because, you know, the weather is not too hot, and that's the perfect time for Vietnamese people to gather and to sit in cafes and, you know, have a little chit-chat in different corners of Vietnam under the autumn breeze. So it's quite nice. Enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
So Geber, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We know that Geber has found his love, his attachment to Vietnam 5 years ago. And now we can wait to hear more of his sharing of this amazing trip and his experience, as well as other emotion and stories.
How's the tea?
It's delicious. Very good.
You had it before, right?
Of course I did, yes.
So tell us about your journey here in Vietnam 5 years ago. And did you happen to try the dishes featured in the clip before?
I did. So I started my trip in Saigon and then drove up to Hanoi by motorbike and then spent another few months traveling around the north of Vietnam. And of course I did try several dishes because I think trying local cuisine is very important when visiting a country.
What's your favorite?
Oh, that's difficult to say, but I guess pho or bún chả.
Nice, my favorite too.
That's the top two, right? And I'm wondering why you pick motorbike. That's our, you know, like represent of Vietnam. When we speak of Vietnam, we see so many motorbike. But why motorbike from Ho Chi Minh up north?
I guess you already answered your question yourself. It's the primary way of transport in Vietnam, and
That's right.
I think to experience the Vietnamese culture properly, the best way to do it is to travel the way the local people do. Also, you get to see a lot more.
But you don't speak Vietnamese, so how did you figure out everything?
Well, I just used Google.
I myself find it quite difficult.
Use Google.
I used Google at first. I did try to pick up as much Vietnamese as possible on the way. Now I can speak enough to make myself understood in the countryside. But when I traveled, I just, improvised whenever necessary, and it always worked.
Imagine you have, you just said you can learn enough Vietnamese to make an introduction to the children in the countryside. Imagine, I'm not a children, I'm not a boy anymore, but you can imagine me, a boy and a girl, and introduce yourself in Vietnamese, please. Could you?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay.
Okay, xin chào các bạn. Em tên là Michael, em tên tu ở Thụy Sỹ và em 26 tuổi. Em ở Việt Nam khoảng 4 năm rồi.
Okay, I think if you introduce that to the Vietnamese local, they will understand you. But for the little kids and you use M, they will be scared and run away.
That is true. I was addressing you guys, so I'm pretty sure that I'm younger than you. So M is the way to go.
Yes, I guess the audience out there are very curious about you. So please leave us your questions and comments, and we will get them to Michael.
Vietnam is located in the tropical monsoon climate zone and has diverse terrain. With magnificent natural landscape and roads zigzagging around steep mountains, the northwestern region of Vietnam offers a heavenly beauty for tourists to immerse themselves in. Meanwhile, Vietnam's Central Highlands charms people with its specialties, namely the sun, the winds, and the sounds of gongs that blend in harmony with the epics of the mountains and forests.
I was completely amazed with the beauty of Vietnam, and that's why I guess I kind of fell in love with Vietnam.
54 ethnic groups across this S-shaped land have formed a culturally diverse Vietnam. Local authorities and people have turned unique cultural features in their daily lives and spiritual lives into interesting community tourism models where tourists can experience living like a local.
Everything here is unique, and everything here has story. You feel there is an amazing energy here, and a lot of positive energy because of like the atmosphere, and yeah. And I'm really happy that I feel that I'm part of them, part of their culture.
Whenever I come here, I always wonder, how is it that the local people can grow plants out of the rocks?
Tourists will go from one surprise to the next when they discover what it's like living in a rammed earth house. These houses have been built completely of soil and no other materials, and they can last a century. The unique stone walls that protect these houses also show that the stone laying technique of Hmong people has reached an advanced level. Stones of many shapes and sizes have been layered randomly, but they look like a beautiful work of art.
Một trong những cái đỉnh cao về nghệ thuật xếp đá của người Mông ấy thì đó chính là xếp những cái bức hàng rào đá không có sử dụng cái chất kết dính luôn. Đấy, thấy chưa? Đó là đỉnh cao của người Mông đấy.
Thì ví dụ là một người muốn trộm thì nó sẽ là treo lên.
Đúng rồi, nó trèo lên thì nó sẽ đổ. Đây chẳng khác gì một cái bẫy cả.
Thế thì đàn ông Mông không những rất là khỏe và mạnh mẽ
mà còn thông minh.
Rất là chiến lược, rất là hay đúng không?
Đúng rồi đấy.
In addition, tourists will also discover local cultures when attending market days or experiencing festival customs, traditional crafts, and delicious food that they can't resist. They will be warmly welcomed by the very hospitable locals. Coffee, a popular drink around the world. Coffee is even more special for tourists in the Central Highlands. Try a bean-to-cup coffee in the same way Ede people would do, and you will see the difference. Roasting coffee beans on a fire stove, crushing the beans by yourself into ground coffee, using a piece of cloth to filter the coffee, sitting in a traditional Ede longhouse, slowly sipping coffee and enjoying the fragrance of the earth, mountains, and forests in the Central Highlands of Vietnam. When leaving the hustle and bustle of their daily life for a visit to Vietnam, tourists will gain exciting experiences in every region they visit.
We just watched a clip featuring the beautiful sceneries of the northern mountainous areas, and many of those places are on the way, on the travel trail of our friend Michael here. So getting away from the hustle and bustle of the city, it's a really refreshing feeling, right?
As promises, let's spend some time with the audience right now, and let's see what they have for our friend. With the first questions?
Yes.
Okay. So, Michael, how attractive are the trails in Vietnam to you? And are they similar to the trail in Switzerland?
They are absolutely beautiful. They are quite different than Switzerland, but equally beautiful, just in their own way.
How different?
It's just very different landscapes. Vietnam has a lot of limestone mountains and these karst mountains, like for example in Ha Giang, and Switzerland. It looks very different, but it's both extremely beautiful.
Just a quick question: could you drive the motorbike to trails in Switzerland?
You cannot really, because of government regulations. You're not allowed to ride motorbikes on any random trail. In Vietnam, you can do that, which is very much to my advantage and to my enjoyment.
Yes, and now we come to the last question, a question that many of the audience here are curious about. What's your future plan?
I'm now in the process of setting up a business for motorbike tours, because I want to, what I've learned and experienced in the past few years, I would like to pass that on to other people. So me and two friends started a company called Lost Trails Vietnam, where we teach people how to ride on trails and show everyone the hidden gems Vietnam has to offer.
Wow, amazing. Think of a motorbike, think of Gerber, Michael.
Yeah, absolutely.
Vice versa.
Maybe one day we can join a trip and you can help us.
That would be lovely. You're very welcome to join anytime.
Yes. So, thank you, Michael, for the very interesting sharing. And I'm sure that many people in Vietnam probably haven't been to the places that you've been to. So there are more than 54 ethnic groups living together in Vietnam. And the diversity in cultural identity is what makes Vietnam unique. For Michael, we wish you all the best for your future plan, the project with the motorbike business.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and goodbye for now.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again.
Goodbye, Michael. We are now back to the studio in Hanoi. And up next is a song performed by our next special guest of the program, singer Văn Mai Hương, with the song it's called Hương.
You shoot me at the first time, mắt anh cười, khóe môi cười, cách anh cười, và em tan đi trong phút giây, chót say người, muốn bên người, sánh đôi người. Okay, let's do something for this boy. Lại thật gần anh em khẽ nói, nào mình cùng cheers tonight thôi. Let me take you with my secret. Let's play some game with me boy. Màu hồng màu xanh người hãy nói, rằng chỉ cần em tonight thôi. Oh my god. Mùi hương em nồng say, một chút martini, hòa cùng một chút Armani. You will be craving for me. Mùi hương em nồng say, hãy đến đây bên em, lại gần và qua đôi môi em, dịu dàng ấm vỗ đôi bờ vai. Mùi hương em nồng say, to be the, to be the, to be the. Mùi hương em nồng say, to be the, to be the, to be the. Mùi hương em nồng say.
Need gift in the house. Girl, anh đã xem mùi hương ấy. Tôi rồi tim của anh đã bị em cướp lấy. Anh thích vị ngọt em chọn cho đêm nay đó. Xa vào lòng anh ấy ta cũng thơm nhé. Trong là biết em FA, mà F to the A and C to the Y. Nghe nói em cần một bờ vai, nhưng tính anh rộng lượng cho luôn một đêm never fight. Em cần một người đàn ông là bạn trai, không phải là một thằng con trai tập làm đàn ông. Đã từng có cho mình quá nhiều lựa chọn sai, nên là nay đã miệng nhịn với những lời mật ngọt. Nên là ghé sang gửi em lời chào, vuốt lại tóc tai chỉnh áo. Khi em đưa mắt sang nơi anh đây, thế giới như đã mất
Mùi
đi
hương
mà
em
mình
nồng
vẫn sai.
say, một chút martini, hòa cùng một chút Armani. You will be craving for me. Mùi hương em nồng say, hãy đến đây bên em, lại gần và qua đôi môi em, dịu dàng ấm vỗ đôi bờ vai. Mùi hương em nồng say, to be the, to be the, to be the. Mùi hương em nồng say, to be the, to be the, to be the. Mùi hương em nồng say, to be the, to be the, to be the. Mùi hương em nồng say, to be the, to be the, to be the. Mùi hương em nồng say.
I know you're not my mistake. I know you're not my mistake. I know you're not my mistake. Em cần em đêm nay là my girl.
I know you're not my mistake. I know you're not my mistake. I know you're not my mistake. Mùi hương em nồng say, một chút martini.
Một sự trở lại rất mới mẻ. Được gặp lại Văn Mai Hương, được diễn kiến bạn, tôi cảm giác là đứng cạnh Văn Mai Hương là một cái sự lan tỏa rất là rực lửa, và tôi cảm thấy là khi mà Văn Hương biểu diễn, bạn tạo ra một
when you perform, I find something very sweet in your performance. I know that this song has become very popular and a hot trend in TikTok right now, and many young viewers have created the dances based on this song. So before our talk, could you please introduce some of the moves of the dance?
Có sẵn lòng nhảy không ạ?
Are you ready to dance? Yes, I'm ready. If you show me the moves, I'm ready. Let's do it together. Okay, let me hold the mic for you.
Tôi đã không lường trước được cái sự khó và cái sự phức tạp của cái động tác
foresee
này.
how difficult the moves are,
mình đã hỏi rồi thì mình không thể nào mà mình
it's okay because I asked her, so she showed me, so I will try my best to copy her moves.
Văn Hương chấm điểm điệu nhảy, tôi được học từ Văn Hương thế nào ạ? Mấy điểm ạ?
How do you
Dạ chắc cũng được 8 điểm rưỡi
which
đấy.
grade do you give it? It's about 8.5 out of 10. Thank you so much for giving me such a high score. I tried to observe such movements since I was at home. But when I see you perform live on the stage, I couldn't remember anything. So let's get to know Văn Mai Hương a little bit. Văn Mai Hương was born and grew up in Hanoi. So how do you see the changes in Hanoi after a long time?
Việc này, công tác này và đi rất là nhiều nơi.
When you have been to many different
Đối với Hương
cities,
thì
for Hương,
Hà Nội là nơi sinh ra.
is
Hương
where I
thì
was
sống
born.
tại thành phố Hồ Chí Minh được
I am
11
now
năm rồi.
I've been living in Ho Chi Minh for 11 years.
Rất là mới lạ.
But every time I go to Hanoi, I have a fresh feelings, the warm feelings when I return to the wide open arms of my families, of the good food, and I'm in love with the autumn and the winter of Hanoi. I was born in autumn, so many special memories. Autumn of Hanoi welcome you back home. So about the cities that you've been to, so can you share from the perspective of the singer, what are your most favorite cities, and can you please tell us the reason
Hương nghĩ
why?
là ở đất nước Việt Nam, mỗi một nơi mà Hương đi qua nó sẽ đều để lại rất là nhiều cái dấu ấn,
each destination I go to, it left me with a lot of memories. For example, Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, and Đà Lạt and Nha Trang.
Ho Chi Minh,
Hanoi, we have already known the Ho Chi Minh City. That is the cities that I grew up, I work, and Nha Trang is, and another city is province city, Phú Yên. Because I love cities by the beach with a white band and beaches and with many exotic landscape like Phú Yên. So very exotic. A girl from Hanoi and has a strong passion for the cities by the sea. So, for example, if there's one thing that we could share about Vietnam to the young European visitors to visit Vietnam, what would you say? When I come to Vietnam, and I often say to many friends from abroad that you can go to Vietnam to enjoy the dishes, the cuisine in Vietnam. 365 days you can enjoy every meal with very exotic cuisine in Vietnam. Thank you very much for sharing. Now I would like to invite you together to the two very
right now, I would like to invite Hương and the audience to connect with our two special guests from Switzerland, Mr. Felix Urek, a Swiss investor who has a deep love for Vietnam, and Ms. Ngọc Dung Moser. She is the General Secretary of the Vietnamese Association in Switzerland. Well, thank you to both of you today for joining us. And question number one is dedicated to Mr. Felix and Ms. Moser. So after watching and the sharing of Quân and Hương, you learned about a new Vietnam. So how different is it from the Vietnam that you knew a long time ago when you had a chance to stay here?
Hello, Vietnam. I had the chance to go many times to Vietnam in the last 12 years, and I started to appreciate and to love Vietnam and the people of Vietnam. And I could see during all this year a very positive evolution. And this on different levels. Once also on the infrastructure, they are much better, still if there is a lot to do. And also on the business and tourism level, there is a huge improvement. And I can also see that there are many people who want to have success. So I can say, I think there is a huge potential now in Vietnam. It's time to invest. But to be able to be successful in Vietnam, we have to consider the rules of success. Why will you be successful or not? There are a certain number of important steps. One is, for example, just to understand the business in which you are, to have a good objective, and also to have the right strategy, how you will do it, in which way. And one thing that is very important from my point of view in Vietnam, especially in Vietnam, is to know the right people. You have to know the right people to be able to go ahead. And don't forget, if you want to succeed, you have to know the rules of success. And there are plenty of tools that are.
Mr. Felix, so obviously Vietnam have changed rapidly. What do you think are the reasons for this change?
Yes, I think there are different reasons. Why? Is because I can feel in Vietnam people, a lot of people want to go ahead. There is a lot of energy, there is a lot of willingness to improve, to be successful. And I'm sure if there is some more education, if there is also some more tools on the level of management and leadership, I think you can improve much more. And once again, there are a certain number of tools, a certain number of rules. And there is so many potential dynamic in Vietnam, and I mean in the people, especially on the management level, and also all other people, that you will have a good future. You will have a successful future. And if in one way or another with Switzerland we can give a help, we will do it with big pleasure.
Thank you so much, Mr. Felix. We can feel your energy and your love for Vietnam in your voice. Thank you so much.
Both Mr. Felix and Mrs. Dung have devoted a lot of efforts to promoting the relationship between Vietnam and Switzerland during the past 50 years. Your activities to promote the diplomatic relations between the two countries must have left many memories for both of you. So, can you share more about your memories from the past activities?
Tôi xin chào Việt Nam. Tôi rất hân hạnh
from Switzerland. It is my great honor to be invited here today.
Và nếu mà nói về những cái gì mà đã thay đổi mà tôi thấy đó thì
About the changes of Vietnam,
tức là khi mà về Việt
there
Nam
are plenty.
thấy có điểm là xóa mù chữ thì biết đọc biết viết.
When I came back to Vietnam, I see that the literacy rate has increased rapidly.
Ngoài ra,
Besides,
sau khi đất nước của mình nó được thống nhất thì
Vietnam was reunited and underwent many challenges. Every time I go back to Vietnam, I see that it's the feelings of a Vietnamese return to her homeland. about the relationship between Vietnam and Switzerland. I say that I have two homelands. I'm also in love with Switzerland. I'm grateful to Switzerland, and my love for Vietnam is for the homeland I was born. And this constitutes the motivation for me to further contribute to the promotion of the cooperation between the two countries through the Vietnam-Switzerland Friendship Association. I'm very moved when I recall these memories. I always try my best to promote the exchanges between the two people to further deepen the mutual understanding, love, and because both countries are peace-loving countries.
Thank you so much. Rất cảm ơn cô Moser.
Thank you very much.
We can see that both
Ms. Moser.
Mr. Felix and Mrs. Moser have deep love for Vietnam. You can feel that through their voices. So once again, thank you so much. Vietnam is an attractive destination for tourists. For many years, Vietnam's beaches have continuously been listed among the most beautiful beaches in the world. Vietnam now boasts world-leading luxury resorts.
The sea and beaches in Vietnam will be great suggestions for you when coming to Vietnam. And don't forget to make a list of the must-see destinations for your upcoming vacations in Vietnam.
Vietnam is blessed by nature with gorgeous beaches stretching across the country. From Hạ Long Bay, a UNESCO World Heritage, to the sand dunes in Mũi Né or the remote islands of Côn Đảo and Phú Quốc, tourists will be able to relax on the sand or in the clear blue water. Every year, Vietnamese beaches are named among the most attractive destinations for domestic and international travelers.
And it really inspires you to come out and visit Nha Trang because it is beautiful and it will help you create beautiful moments, okay?
Engaging in thrilling beach sport activities, indulging in a food heaven with a wide range of fresh seafood made into delicious dishes.
It's been a very interesting journey exploring the seafood of Phu Quoc Island these past days. Shrimp, fish, octopus, and snails. I strongly recommend you come and visit and try this seafood for yourself.
Vietnam's sea tourism can meet every demand, from discovering the pristine beauty of nature to enjoying a world-class holiday in a high-end resort of international standard. In 2019, Phu Quoc Island in Kiên Giang Province, dubbed the Pearl Island, is placed by US TV network CNN among of the top island getaways. Meanwhile, the beach city of Nha Trang was listed among the top 10 honeymoon destinations in 2019 by The Travel, a leading travel site. In 2020, Vietnam's Hoi An ancient town was ranked third among the world's top 25 tourism cities by readers of Travel Plus Leisure, a prestigious US travel magazine, in its World's Best Awards. Besides, the ancient town was voted by readers as the best city in the top 15 travel destinations in Asia. In 2021, the travel site also listed Dam Châu on Côn Đảo Islands among the world's 25 best beaches. Previously, Côn Đảo was voted one of the world's best secret islands by the world-famous travel site Lonely Planet.
Wow, it's amazing, guys. Look at where we are. This is amazing.
No matter who you are and what you're keen on, you will find a beach that suits you. You will certainly be welcomed with a warm smile from the kind coastal residents. Vietnam, a peaceful and safe destination.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2020 and 2021 are two really challenging years for the tourism industry, not only in Vietnam but all over the world, due to unprecedented challenges such as COVID-19 pandemic.
But with the current government's pandemic control and prevention efforts, I think we will soon welcome international guests back to Vietnam. The domestic tourism sector has prepared for recovery plans for the coming time.
And to help us understand more about this preparation process, we are very lucky to welcome to the studio today Mr. Nguyễn Trung Khánh, Chairman, Vietnam National Administration of Tourism Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism. Xin cảm ơn ông Khánh đã tham gia với chúng tôi ngày hôm nay. Thưa ông, có thể nói là đại dịch Covid-19 thì đã đặt ra những cái khó khăn và thách thức chưa từng có tiền lệ. Vậy thì khán giả rất quan tâm là cái kế hoạch mở cửa trở lại để đón du khách quốc tế trong thời gian tới của chúng ta sẽ là thế nào?
Xin kính chào các quý vị khán giả đang theo dõi chương trình.
Express my sincere
Xin chào hai MC.
Congratulations to all the viewers present here at this meeting. Over the past few months, under the directions of the Prime Ministers and the government, our ministry has taken action to work together to support Kiên Giang province to finalize the pilot program to welcome international visitors to Phu Quoc, and it is expected to be implemented in November 2021. And this plan will be implemented in 6 months and with 2 phases. The first one will be implemented in Phu Quoc, Kiên Giang. Based on the actual situation the review, we could expand to other places in Vietnam, for example in Hạ Long, Quảng Ninh, Hội An, Quảng Nam, Nha Trang, Khánh Hòa, and Đà Lạt, Lâm Đồng. And tourists coming to participate in this program will engage in a packaged tour with the packaged with a charter flight, and we concentrate on the potential markets with high safety in terms of COVID prevention and control. For example, in Europe, in Northeast Asia, in United States, and Middle East, Australia, and they are required to meet the requirements of the vaccine passport, for example, a negative PCR test within 72 hours before departure.
Since we have identified sea and island tourism as one of the 4 prioritized product lines, apart from cultural tourism, ecotourism, and urban development, so what have been the achievements so far? Vietnam is a country that have the great potentials for sea and island tourism with 3,260 kilometers and more than 3,000 islands. We will have the most beautiful base in the world, full of the sunlight. So this is the potentials and the advantage for sea and island tourism development. We also have to promote other economic sectors, creating the jobs for the local people and contribute to the ensuring of national security. And the tourism development strategy until 2030 approved by the Prime Minister, sea and island tourism is one of the 4 key product lines of specialized features, and the development of the sea island tourism will contribute to making tourism a top industry. So what will be the specific step forward for this development?
So given this potential, our tourism sector has identified the direction for the coming time. We could assess the need for the master plan for the tourism development until 2030 and the vision 2045 and 50, and also the strategy for the sustainable development of the sea tourism. And we will concentrate resources and encourage all the investors at home and abroad to participate in the buildings of tourism complex which has a large scale and which has a high quality and standard. On that basis, we could create competitiveness and we could concentrate on some of the priority areas, for example, in Quảng Ninh, Hạ Long, in the central part of Vietnam, Thanh Hóa, and also in the south in Kiên Giang. we can also develop projects in sea and island areas in Cam Ranh, in Cát Bà, and other islands such as Phú Quốc, Côn Đảo, Cù Lao Chàm, Phú Quý.
Tập trung vào
And
xây dựng được 3 cái sản
we
phẩm
could concentrate on the buildings of three products, typical products, the Vân Phong Bay, the Hạ Long Bay in Cam Ranh, and Phú Quốc Island. They will become the very high quality sea resort and sea complex, tourism complex in Vietnam to sustain the promotions of tourism, so that we could connect with programs with other types of tourism in the world. That is the way that we could develop a sea tourism as a brand for the tourism in Vietnam. I hope that under the controls of COVID-19 we could implement that project.
Một mầm cây mang thai khu rừng, một dòng suối mang thai biển khơi, một bàn chân mang thai con đường, một bàn tay mang thai tình người. Một chuyến đi mang thai ước vọng, một đời chờ mang thai mùa đông, một khúc ca mang thai mơ mộng, một đóa hoa mang thai tình si. Thịch thịch tinh tang tang tang, đàn tôi mang thai nỗi lòng. Thịch thịch tinh tang tang tang, sa mạc mang thai dòng sông. Tịch tịch tinh tinh tang tang, mặt đất mang thai bầu trời. Tịch tịch tinh tang tang tang, đàn bà mang thai đàn ông. Một chuyến đi mang thai ước vọng, một đời chờ mang thai mùa đông, một khúc ca mang thai mơ mộng, một đóa hoa mang thai tình si. Tịch tịch tinh tang tang tang, đàn tôi mang thai nỗi lòng. Tịch tịch tinh tinh tang tang, sa mạc mang thai dòng sông. Mặt đất mang thai bầu trời. Tịch tịch tinh tang tang tang, nhạt phai mang thai đậm sâu.
Xin chào mừng ca sĩ Tùng Dương đến với chương trình ngày hôm nay. Xin cảm ơn anh đã mang đến cho chương trình một giai điệu tình cảm, mang thai, rất là nhiều cảm xúc trong mỗi
with a lot of emotions and feelings. And now please join us for our conversation.
Tùng Dương is one of the guests we would be featuring next. The reason why we invited him is because he represents a unique individual characteristic and also contributing to bring the images of Vietnam to the world as a unique, dynamic, creative country. And this image of Vietnam is attributed to the continuous efforts from all walks of life, like Dương or like Quách Thị Lan, our golden girl of the Vietnamese sports scene. And they and also many other represent the new generation of the country. Singer or athletes, students or engineers, they are working tirelessly to contribute to a new image of Vietnam, and of course, in their own way. So this is also the main content of our next conversation.
And before we start this topic, let me introduce the guests of this segment. First, that's Quách Thị Lan, the first Vietnamese runner to have qualified for athletes summits at the Olympics, and our beloved singer, ca sĩ Tùng Dương. Xin chào.
Chào Quân.
And if you want to know more about our two guests, don't forget to send us questions now and leave your questions and comments right below in the comment sections, and we will take them to our guests.
Xin chào anh Tùng Dương.
Hi Dương.
Quân.
Xin chào Lan.
Hi Lan.
Và xin chào mừng hai người đến với chương trình.
And welcome to our program
Có
today.
lẽ là câu hỏi đầu tiên.
So the first question is dedicated to Tùng Dương, a brother,
có rất là nhiều những dấu ấn sâu đậm trong âm nhạc.
a singer who have many imprints and have many fans. And I'm very happy to have the chance to talk with you directly today. Many people usually when referred to you, they say that you are very unique. You have unique personality in music. Do you agree with that? And how would you define that? I think that any artist will try to express their own personalities in their performance in such a modern society. So unique personality in music is very important to contribute to your success, to make you different from others. Just believe that you are unique. Everyone is unique in their own way. Because we, with our own personalities, is unique. We are not copycat of any others. So I try to show my unique personality in music. So the message in my music, my personalities, will be shown in my performance. And this is what I try to convey to my audience. When we mention about Tùng Dương, people often say that you have very unique personality in music. So given such personality and how the Vietnamese music have changed since you first debuted.
So if you look at the overall landscapes of the Vietnamese music over the past periods, we have the new music, we have the music before the revolution time, and also the music before 1975, and other different types of music, also the pop music and many works composed by many artists in the later days. During that development, we've seen the new achievements by the new composers, and the singers and in the new generation are very talented. They know what to do and everything to do, and the producers are also very talented, and they could compose by themselves, and singer and writers are the same person, for example. So the artists are more professional, are more talented, and they could be classified into other type, and they create their own personalities, their own unique personality. And when we integrate into the world, we have our own jazz, our own rock, and many different other type of music. Then we could integrate into the trend of the world. So, do you notice any athlete in the music world? Through the tireless efforts of Martin Blaise, you
với những cái thành tích
with the achievements that you have again in the Tokyo Olympics.
Returning from Olympics,
đang rất chi là cảm thấy vinh dự và tự hào khi mình đã có cơ hội cũng như là
and proud to have the opportunity to represent Vietnam, to contribute to the overall results of Vietnam. So since August, so it has been 2 months.
Em có những cái kế hoạch gì
What
cho cái sự luyện tập sắp tới?
are your future plans?
Sắp chinh phục hay không?
Đến thời điểm hiện tại thì em với thầy và các bạn vận động viên thì đang trong quá trình tập luyện để chuẩn bị tốt nhất cho những giải đấu tiếp theo. Và bọn em cũng sẽ cố gắng thi đấu thật tốt để đạt được những thành tích cao mang về cho đoàn thể thao Việt Nam.
Results for Vietnam.
Không biết là Lan đã chia sẻ như vậy thì
So,
một vận động viên
for example, if you use when you listen to the sharing from Lan, do you watch the recent Olympics in Japan, and do you see the achievements of Lan in the Olympics? We met each other before we came to this meeting, and we read about Lan in the media, and Lan has made a contribution to make Vietnam to be proud of the achievements in Olympics. And I think that no other Asian athletes have done so, and it is a tireless effort of Lan in order to achieve that such a success. So we really share the success, and we admire. I admire Lan and for your remarkable success. As an athlete or a musician, we still have we share the same passion. We train ourselves very hard in order to perform better.
I'm curious to see how can you achieve such very high results. Can you share with us your journey? Since I was small, I always loved running and watch other athletes on television. I also participated in the competitions at school, so my teachers saw my ability in running, and I also have the advantage with my height. So I think this is what has brought me to where I am right now. Nothing is easy. Success doesn't come easy. Can you please share when you have to share the blood and the tears for an athlete? We are often injured, but during our training sessions and competitions, we encounter numerous difficulties. We have to stay away from our beloved families, and sometimes we have to train really hard. And we times to time felt discouraged. However, with the support of our coaches, of the Vietnamese fans, we try our best to overcome all these challenges and difficulties, and to contribute all our best that we can to the overall success.
I think you talk about failures and you smile when people look at you. People see the victories and glories, but when you're facing with failures, how do you cope with that? I think that even the successful artists could face failures, but for myself, I think that when I look back at my development, there's many advantages, but also there are many limitations and failures. And before, if I do not become an artist or a vocalist, I would become an athlete, because when I participate in the running, I was always the first to meet the race. So when I was participating in a singing contest, I was also the first. I could not do all the things at once, but I think that if we have the passion, we do have the aspiration. For the young generation, we could achieve everything.
Thank you very much for your sharing. And it's very it inspires others people. So I'm sure that you will have another song to present to us and the audience. So this is a song of very unique name. This is the artificial intelligence. AI also represents the new thinking, the new mindset and the message that we would like to convey, that with the advancements of science and technology, we can make all the machines to serve the people, not that we are the servants of all kinds of machines. So the floor is yours.
Quanh tôi đang được tôi lập trình, những cỗ máy tương lai đang hình thành trong não, những cỗ máy trí tuệ nhân tạo đang hình thành. Trên phố robot đi đưa hàng tay con đường, trên giấy robot in màu tạo ra nguyên mẫu, chiếc đĩa bay đưa ta bay vòng quanh thiên hà. Chờ một ngày cho đến một vài năm nữa hóa con người, những cỗ máy không người lái cứ bay đi, anh từ không gian thì ra cứ bay đi, anh từ không gian nổi tương cứ bay đi, để hình thành tư duy con người, những cỗ máy không người lái trí thông minh tương tác không gian vật lý, trí thông minh ngôn ngữ hay đang làm toán cấp cao hơn, để hình thành tư duy con người, những cỗ máy không người lái cứ bay đi, anh từ không gian thì ra cứ bay đi, anh từ không gian nổi tương cứ bay đi, để hình thành tư duy con người, những cỗ máy không người lái trí thông minh tương tác không gian vật lý, trí thông minh ngôn ngữ hay đang làm toán cấp cao hơn, để hình thành tư duy con người, từng dòng người nói nhau, trí thông minh được lập trình giống nhau, bước đi theo từng mạch dài nói nhau, có chẳng một ai khác tôi, sẽ không có ai khi nhìn dòng người nói nhau, bước đi theo đường mạch dài nói nhau, trí thông minh được lập trình giống nhau, có chẳng một ai khác tôi, từng dòng người nói nhau, trí thông minh được lập trình giống nhau, bước đi theo từng mạch dài nói nhau, có chẳng một ai khác tôi, sẽ không có ai khi nhìn dòng người nói nhau, bước đi theo đường mạch dài nói nhau, trí thông minh được lập trình giống nhau, có chẳng một ai khác tôi, từng dòng người nói nhau, trí thông minh được lập trình giống nhau, bước đi theo từng mạch dài nói nhau.
Vâng, rất cảm ơn anh Tùng Dương với màn biểu diễn vừa rồi ạ.
For your performance.
Thank you, singer Tung Dương, with a super special song. This song delivers a special message. We are living in the 4.0 revolution, constantly striving to innovate and always aspire to be an independent and unique individual.
The aspiration for a developed, prosperous Vietnam has always been nurtured through many Vietnamese generations. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. For the IT sector in Vietnam, you may wonder who set that very first single step. Obviously, it's a collective effort and not from one single person. So this segment here to help us understand the treasure and efforts of the pioneers in this sector. Please join us to welcome our next guest, Mr. Hoàng Nam Tiến, Chairman of FPT Telecom. He's here with us in the studio.
Yeah, thank you.
And joining us live, Mr. Bùi Hải Hưng, Director of the AI Research Institute, Vin AI Research.
And before we start the conversations with the two guests, let's watch a short clip about Vietnam's current digital transformation scenes, as well as the development in innovation, especially in the field of digital transformation and AI technology in Vietnam.
Online classes connect teachers to students. Patients are examined and consulted remotely by doctors. Digital banking allows customers to conduct transactions online without visiting their banks. The recent development of a digital economy and a digital society has helped people and businesses change how they live and enjoy social services and facilities. An architect normally works with 2 clients per day because he has to move between them and arrange time for each. But now he can speak to at least 4. From consulting to design, production and delivery to the customer's doorsteps, a standardized technology is applied to ensure this process is synchronized. Just by scanning a code like this, the machine will recognize the design and create the exact product approved by the customer during consultation.
Nếu như chúng ta không đưa ra những giải pháp mới, chúng ta không thích ứng để thay đổi, thì bản thân tất cả các doanh nghiệp thì đều gặp khó khăn thôi.
2020 was chosen by the Vietnamese Ministry of Information and Communication to launch national digital transformation. Digital transformation helps Vietnam comprehensively innovate its management and operation method, increase labor capacity, and generate new revenues. For tech firms like FPT, adapting to the pandemic situation is a chance to promote AI technology solutions. The platform ecosystem FPT.ai provides many solutions such as chatbots, virtual agents for call centers, optical characteristic recognition, speech-to-text, and eKYC. Organizations and businesses can integrate AI solutions into their operation in a shorter period of time. This ensures continuous operation anytime, anywhere. According to PwC, AI could contribute up to $15.7 trillion to the global economy in 2030. In Vietnam, AI has also been identified as one of the key technologies for the future.
Actually, this year, our Prime Minister has issued the National Strategies on Research, Development and Application of AI 2030, contributing to socio-economic developments and step-by-step make Vietnam become a bright spot in research, development and application of AI in the regions and in the world.
On Artificial Intelligence Day 2021, VinAI debuted driverless cars. 3 years since its foundation, besides world-class research projects, VinAI has laid the foundation for a future generation of AI experts with its AI residency program for exceptional talents. The goal of the program is to build a core team of leading AI experts and nurture young AI talents for Vietnam in the future.
Xin cảm ơn ông Hoàng Nam Tiến đã tham gia chương trình của chúng tôi ngày hôm nay ạ. Thưa ông Tiến, chúng ta vừa mới xem một clip tổng quan về ngành IT ở Việt Nam và là một người đã có 30 năm gắn bó với ngành này. Thì ông có thể chia sẻ cái con đường nào mà dẫn tới việc là từ những cái ngày rất sơ khai ấy, một công ty như FPT chẳng hạn lại có thể là đàm phán và kết nối và hợp tác được với những công ty công nghệ nước ngoài, và làm thế nào để các công ty nước ngoài có niềm tin vào một công ty bé nhỏ như FPT thời đó, thế nhưng bây giờ thì không còn bé nữa.
Câu trả lời là
company in FPT at that time. The answer is technology. And we need to attach importance to the new technology. And we have done that. And we have talked about big data, IA, and Internet of Things. And the evidence is that the world leading companies in the world use our platforms and our software. So 86 companies over the 500 Fortune companies of the world use our technology. We could name, for example, in the EU, in Airbus, the leading aircraft producers in the world, and we work together with them in order to build up a platform for the data for many aircraft carriers in the world. We refer to AI to chatbots. We work with chatbots in order to provide technology chatbots for the companies. I think that the reason behind it is the talented young people in Vietnam. They work very hard. They are very innovative in order to catch up with the trend.
Thank you very much. Different from Mr. Tiến, Ms. Hương spent years to work abroad, but he decided to return to Vietnam.
Quyết định trở về Việt Nam, đặt ra những mục tiêu chiến
And
lược
to
để
set
phát
the
triển
strategic
công nghệ
goals
AI.
for AI
Ông đánh giá như thế nào về việc phát
development? What's
triển
your
nghiên cứu,
assessment of
phát triển
AI
công nghệ này
research
tại
and
Việt Nam,
development
vốn
in
chưa phải là một
Vietnam?
nơi có thế mạnh, thay vì
Vietnam
các
is
quốc gia
not
khác.
a country has the strength in this area in comparisons with other countries.
Tôi cũng đã có cơ hội để trở về Việt Nam
the
làm việc
opportunities to come back to Vietnam for work.
Trong vòng gần 3 năm vừa rồi.
In the last 3 years,
lúc nào cũng có cái cảm giác là
I always have the
có rất
feeling
nhiều những cái challenge,
that
có
there are
rất
many
nhiều,
challenges
những cái vấn đề mà cần phải giải quyết,
and
và đặc biệt
obstacles
là khi
need
mà
to be addressed.
chúng tôi đặt ra cái mục tiêu
Particularly when we set out the target
lần đầu tiên
for the first time
lập ra một
that we
cái
can
viện nghiên cứu
establish a
chú trọng
research
vào công nghệ cao,
institute
công nghệ
focusing
AI,
on high
và làm
technology
điều đó ngay
such
tại
as
Việt Nam.
AI in Vietnam.
Thì ngay từ lúc đầu tiên ấy, thì
Since the
tôi
very
rất
beginning,
là aware được cái việc
I was aware
chúng ta đặt ra những cái
that
mục tiêu
given
xây dựng
such
cái viện nghiên cứu như vậy tại Việt Nam
objectives for the development of the research institute for AI.
chưa bao giờ làm.
This is something quite new, unprecedented.
Đặt ra những cái mục tiêu
With such
chính cái việc đặt ra mục tiêu và cái thách thức lớn như vậy.
We understand the challenges that we might encounter, but when we start anything new, we are ready for the challenges, and I'm proud to say that over the past time we are quite successful in developing a team that is capable of AI research and development at the international level, and we've developed the AI Institute, and the achievements have been proved through series of news and presentations at the most prestigious conferences and newspapers, particularly at the Merit Conference in 2021, the leading conference on AI this year. VinAI has has introduced 8 of its projects. So these are the breakthroughs in terms of a research capability.
Can you share with us about the self-driving car technology that VinAI announced at the end of August? I'm very curious about to see how AI will handle the traffic in Vietnam. Recently, we announced 3 products. This is the ZMS system and also the ZM and many other technologies that could facilitate the self-driving technology. So to facilitate the experiences for the driver, so we could improve the safety and convenience. One of the most important things is to design the awareness and conception for the car, so it could determine the success of this product with a high precision, and we could fit into the situation and circumstances in Vietnam, because the traffic in Vietnam is I think that many technologies from all over the world could not meet as a requirement for the traffic in Vietnam.
Thank you, Mr. Hương. And the next question is dedicated to Mr. Tiến. So with the achievements of Vietnam in science and technologies, do you see that it has met met with our set roadmap.
Nhân ngày của Thụy Sỹ.
On the occasions of the Vietnam Days in Switzerland, I would like to mention about Switzerland. This is the countries that we can learn a lot from. From a very small city in Switzerland, all the scientists and all the people working in the science area see that it will become the hub for all the high-tech startups.
Về blockchain,
the startups in blockchain, fintechs, biotechs, among others. What is the reason? They believe so because they enable an environment that all the people working in technologies find that they want to go there. I want to share a very impressive statistic. 3.4% of GDP is spent for technology development. For the US, they spend only 3.1%. But when we look to Vietnam, the number is quite slow and our environment is not favorable enough. For 1,000 developers registered at Zurich of Switzerland, can you imagine a country, a small country with 100,000 developers living there? We were quite surprised that thousands of startups are also registered to operate there. So just look at the picture, we can see that we can learn from their policies. We are capable of financial capability. Mr. Hưng is a vivid demonstration that how much we can invest into science and technologies in the outcome. The achievements of VinAI is also another proof.
Now, we would like to call upon a professor from Switzerland. So he would tell us about how
related to the field of technology and innovation, we are now connecting with Dr. Lưu Vĩnh Toàn, President of the Association of Vietnamese Intellectuals and Experts in Switzerland. Dr. Lưu Vĩnh Toàn is the co-founder of the Việt Search Project, an online platform of search engine data, services, event, and news for overseas Vietnamese. He is also holding the role of the technology director and product development of V-Space platform to support innovation ecology in Vietnam. Hân hạnh chào mừng tiến sĩ Lưu Vĩnh Toàn tới chương trình tham gia chương trình của chúng tôi ngày hôm nay. Vậy thì như ông Hoàng Đăng Tiến đã chia sẻ ở đây, thì ông Toàn có thể nói rõ hơn là cái tiềm năng của hợp tác phát triển giữa các doanh nghiệp Việt Nam và các doanh nghiệp
cooperations between the Vietnamese and Swiss enterprises in this sector in the future, so that we can see big leap forward in terms of technology.
Vâng, xin chào đầu cầu Việt Nam ạ.
Hello, audiences from Vietnam. Switzerland is one of the leading countries in terms of innovation. In the Global Innovation Index,
về các cái innovation trong thời gian qua, và Việt Nam thì cũng đang
cố gắng
là trong cái bảng xếp hạng này.
Has also seen some improvement in the recent ranking. Therefore, I believe that the two countries can have many potentials for cooperations in science technology, innovations, and digital transformations. And I've witnessed many successful projects between Vietnam and Switzerland. So it has affirmed the capabilities of the Vietnamese experts in the high-tech areas. Although there are differences in the economic structures of the two countries, but the digital transformation programs of the two sides share many similarities. We focus on sustainable development. We both promoted the development through education, through information security, assurance. We are striving to build a digital economy, and people are always the focus of all the efforts. And I'm confident that the two countries are complementary for the development of this sector, and we have the capability to realize this.
Mr. Tien, as a pioneer in the in this area, do you have any recommendation for the young people in Vietnam? During the past few days, the young people often talk about Mr. Chương, because his company has been evaluated as a $3 billion in value. Chương has quit the school and to start with a startup. And Chương said that he worked 20 hours a day without weekends. So that was very horrific. And there is a connections between the young energies in Vietnam and also the education environment in Singapore. And he learned a lot from partners and from Europe and from the US. That is what we could learn, and the young people could see that the world is flat at the moment. When we sit in Hanoi, in Ho Chi Minh City, or in Da Nang, or any provinces of Vietnam, we could be ready for a global citizen, and we need to learn to become a global citizen.
Thank you. We're talking about the young talents, the young intellectuals who want to, and we want them to further grow and to learn from them. And the next question is for Mr. Tuan. As the president of the Association of the Vietnamese Intellectuals and Experts in Switzerland, what are the plans that we can further promote the overseas Vietnamese to further contribute to the country, particularly as we face the challenges caused by COVID-19? This is also one of the things that I've kept pondering. I think that this is a very precious asset. This will be a test that we can see our shortcomings and limitations to further improve. A very important factor in the 4.0 IR, we also need the platforms for the overseas Vietnamese can contribute their part. And finally, we should be aware of globalization, and we try to remove the differences in terms of culture, geographical distance, and languages to promote, to mobilize all the contributions so that the overseas Vietnamese people will see Vietnam as their homeland. I will try my best to urge these people to contribute to Vietnam.
So once again, thank you very much for your opinion from Switzerland, and thank you very much, Mr. Hoàng Nam Tien, for joining us today in our program.
People like Mr. Hoàng Nam Tien or Mr. Bùi Hải Hưng and many other seniors have paved the way for the younger generation of Vietnamese people to set higher goals and reach new heights in the technology field. Now let's hear an opinion from the younger generation in Vietnam.
And now we would welcome to our studio today a representative of the younger generation of Vietnam. She is in the list of 30 under 30 Forbes Vietnam 2020. Please welcome Nguyễn Thị Thu Hà, CEO of MindX. Hà not only realized her own dream, but also helps many other young people believe that each and everyone is unique and can contribute his or her own way.
And question number 1. Hello, Ha, and welcome to the show.
Good evening.
You were a Google Student Ambassador in 2015, so it is a very important milestone for you to help you get where you are today.
Thank you for your introduction. It is my honor to be invited to this special program today. Indeed, joining the Google Student Ambassador program was one of my life-changing experiences that led me to become the founder of MindX Technology School today. I had the chance to visit Google office in many countries, the world's leading tech company, which really opened my eyes. I could see clearly the powerful impact technology has on people's lives and on the future of the country. A little bit about my background, I was born in a poor village in Vietnam and became one of the very few kids in my village getting into university. At that time, I started wondering how I could have gone this far, and the answer was pretty obvious: education opportunities. I realized how immensely education can change one person's life, And if there's anything I want to contribute to my hometown, my country, it must be in education. And that's how the connection between me, education, and technology played out. And at the same time, I met other founders of MyX, and we've been working together on this tech education startup until this point.
Interesting. Your MyX focuses on the educational technology in Vietnam. So can you share a little bit more about the ideas as well as the process of turning the idea into reality?
Yeah, well, at the beginning of the journey, teaching technology was really limited only in some universities. Meanwhile, education for elementary, middle, and high school students or for non-tech people nearly didn't exist. Honestly, I've got to admit that MyX was so ambitious when aiming to help Vietnam to become the next tech hub of the world, providing tech-savvy experts. Our work is educating, connecting, and bringing global opportunities in technology to young generation, even very small kids. And this mission probably would take tens of years to accomplish. And actually, in the beginning, the founding team was inexperienced with almost no funding. And what helped us to overcome every obstacle and be here today is our passion, determination, and acquisitiveness. But we still have a long way to go.
Mm-hmm. So on that journey, as you said, determination and passion. So what story left the most impression in you, and can you share with us on that journey?
Yes, in my journey, I've been most impressed with Vietnamese young generation's incredible efforts and potential when learning about high technology. I remember one student who came along the way from Lào Cai to Hanoi to go to MyX and learn, coding. And after that, he won the first place in science and technology competition in the US. And thousands of our students have been working in top-tier companies such as Google, Grab, Amazon, Shopee. And we always believe that one day Vietnamese people will be in the position of CEO, CTO of such companies or founding such huge companies like Google or Facebook.
Wow, that's amazing. It's really inspiring to listen to your story with MyX, your passion and the story behind that. We wish you success, and one day we will see your success turn into reality. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
So from the sharing of all the guests so far, we see that as long as a person has a passion and determination, he or she will find his or her own way to contribute to a prosperous Vietnam. If Thu Hà had found her passion and knew what she wanted to do when she was a student in high school, the guest we are about to introduce to you today also found his passion at the very early age. He is Xiao Chu, also known as Phó Vạn An, a 14-year-old boy who has been holding brush for more than 10 years. Xiao Chu's paintings are highly valued in the international art scene. Recently, Xiao Chu had just collected nearly $23,000 for the painting Lucky Apricot on Binance NFT, making it the highest priced painting by a Vietnamese on this floor.
NFT is an acronym for non-fungible token, meaning unique token. This is a form of certificate of ownership that is validated using blockchain technology. The use of digital signatures and blockchain technology has made NFT impossible to copy or counterfeit. This makes the NFT unique.
And perhaps we shouldn't keep the audience and guests waiting any longer. So we are now connecting with a young artist, Xiao Chu. Hello, Xiao Chu. A very unique artist name. So tell us and the audience here, how has COVID-19 affected your working habit, and how have you overcome these challenges?
I think COVID affected practically everyone, and I mean, for me, my painting, it limited my creativity, especially for landscape. Because the way I do landscape is I would paint what I saw first person, the scene that I saw. that I thought was really beautiful. For me personally, because of COVID, I focused more on art and to diversify my paintings, especially on topic a little bit.
I know that you use all the money collected from paintings and exhibitions for charity activities. You are young, but it seems like you are very willing to share and give back to society. Where does that all come from?
When I was young, my mom did a lot of charity work and she would take me. So I would see a lot of these really unfortunate people. And I got the chance to realize at a young age how lucky I was. And if I were to take the money that I made, which I don't really need, to be honest, and donating it is a good cause anyways, yeah.
And Xiao Chu, I know that you have a big love for Vietnam because I see the landscapes of Vietnamese landscape, a beautiful landscape in your paintings a lot. So tell us more about that.
I mean, I've seen very, very, very unique, beautiful scenes here in Vietnam, and that's why I did them a lot. If I were to go to another country, I think I'll miss practically everything because I lived here since I was born, and will always be willing to bring that out for the world to see. And in the near future, we're hoping to do more of them. Yeah.
Representing a young generation of Vietnam, have you ever thought of the breakthroughs that you or other young people would bring to Vietnam and the world?
Hi, so I'm very grateful to have this opportunity, especially with lockdown, to sit here and talk to you guys. And it's all thanks to technology. And I'm proud to be a Vietnamese artist of the young generation, to introduce my passion to the world. So thank you for everyone for supporting me. Yeah.
So thank you, Xiao Chu, for this interesting talk, and I wish you more success with your future paintings.
And after conversations with people representing generations X, Y, Z of Vietnam, I really want to send a sincere thank you to the brave pioneers of Vietnam. They have always strived, persistently overcome challenges to create their own imprints, pave the way for the younger generations, and serve as connecting dots to help bring Vietnam to the global path of technology.
And the young generation, on the other hand, are proving themselves too. We have seen names of many Vietnamese young people recognized by international friends, helping to introduce a dynamic and a modern Vietnam to the world.
Each person has his or her very own ways to bring Vietnam closer to international friends.
And this is also the end of, we are coming to the end of our program today. And we would like to say a big thank you to our our guests in Bern and Geneva who've been with us today for the past 3 hours. It's long, but there are still so many stories to tell. And we're so sorry for the restriction of time. And we wish that we could have another chance to sit down and share more. Thank you very much to all of you. And goodbye. saxophone performance of artist Lê Duy Mạnh has wrapped up this edition of the Vietnam Days in Switzerland today. On behalf of our crew from Hanoi, we would like to give a special thanks to all of the guests participating in our program, to all our audiences out there in Vietnam and from all over the world.
We hope that when thinking about Vietnam, we will see a place with unique culture, rich in identity, hospitality and vitality. Vietnam is a country that respects diversity and is willing to cooperate with Switzerland and other countries in all fields, especially innovation and creativity for sustainable development. Thank you very much for watching and goodbye for now.